Okay. Welcome, one and all. Oh, isn't it a beautiful day? It's a beautiful day, gang. We have a wonderful show for you today on WIC TV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Tonight's topic, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. He's come under fire once again, allegedly, talking about classified info in a Signal chat with his wife and brother. Or so the leakers allege. The question becomes, should Pete Hegseth resign from his position? Is he doing a good job? Why or why not? Should he be fired if he refuses to resign? We got some great people to talk about it. We got some great guests, and so welcome to the show, and let's get this going. Let's give it first to Katusha. Ladies first. Tell people who you are, why we should listen to you, and what are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Premier Katya on both X and Blue Sky. I don't stream right now, maybe one day. I am here to be on the side that he should absolutely resign, because a lot of these issues have originated from him. Are we doing like full opening statements, or are we introducing them?
Give us your opening statements. Yeah, give us what you got.
Okay, cool, gotcha. So basically, in this sort of situation, it was extremely obvious that this would be classified information. Like, there's literally no way that he could have been like, I did not know this information was classified. And he shared it on an unsecured group chat, and he apparently like had his office wired up with a separate computer so that he could even use Signal when it was previously blocked within that secure area. Generally, I mean, if we're going to have everybody follow these rules and regulations for keeping things safe and secure. Oops, I'm sorry. My audio is fucky-wucky. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
We can hear you fine.
Don't know what that's about.
Keep going.
Is my game?
You're fine for now.
You
Keep going.
It fix itself.
Right. Okay, so yeah, I mean, what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if these are rules that we expect everybody to follow, it should be followed, especially by the people who have the most information. This alleged second group chat isn't just like alleged to have contained his wife and brother. It's supposed to also have contained his personal lawyer, as well as another individual who it was escapes me. Yeah, basically just the first time, you could say that adding the reporter was an accident. And, even though he was using an insecure method, he was talking to people who had the clearance to hear it, or was you certainly can't say about his wife, personal lawyer, and brother. So, yep. Anyways, next person, you can go. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. Thanks for being here. Hopefully your audio issues get a little fixed up, and we'll get you going. Thank you. Next up, no stranger to my show, Admiral Gibbs. Give us what you got.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nothing burger. I mean, like, if the Dems were really upset about this, I don't hate to do whataboutism right off the bat, but we're gonna do it. They would have fired Biden when he kept classified documents in his garage, and his crackhead hooker, dick-sucking son when he was living there, they would have fired him for keeping him around near these classified documents. They don't actually give a shit about anything being classified, being leaked. They just want to bitch about something because all Trump is doing is winning, and this is the first thing they can grab hold on. I mean, Trump's put Hegseth in charge. Hegseth hit the gates running. He gave Panama an ass whipping, and Hegseth was a huge part of that. Sealed the deal, kicked China out of there. Big fan of that. The courts just ruled against their transgender surgery thing, but they did attempt to get rid of that. I mean, I don't know why my taxpayer dollars are going to surgeries for gender dysphoria in the military. That's fucking ridiculous. And I like the idea that a guy's going to listen to Doge. If you'd asked any left-leaning person 3 months, or like 4, 5, 6 months ago, hey, should the Pentagon and the defense budget be cut and looked at and maybe find ways, they would have all said yes. And then when Elon recommends this to Doge, and Pete Hegseth works on it and starts cutting things, all of a sudden, loaded, it's terrible. And then they want to bitch about the Signal chat. Yeah, this is a whole misnomer. It's all linked peer-to-peer. It's encrypted. Oh no, he told the wife that he was going to fry some Houthis. Sounds terrible. Oh no, his lawyer, who's already got required to keep confidentiality. Oh no, not as said. I'm Admiral Gibbs, if you like all that.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Next up, it's been a while, but he's been on my show before. Alex Kirsch, go ahead. Give us what you got.
Well, first things first, thank you so much, Wick, for having me on. And I want to say thank you to Admiral Gibbs, Grid, and Katya for being on here today. So the situation regarding the signal leaks about the Operation Yemen involving members of the current administration, to include Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, is without a doubt troubling. Not just because it happened, because of how nonchalant he is acting about it. He insists it's not his fault, that it didn't happen. Leakers are being filed while the rest are anonymous, disgruntled employees, yada, yada, yada. First things first, we know for a fact that classified information was leaked out on a signal chat. Not even up for debate. Multiple people were on the chat. National Security Advisor accidentally added a news reporter, so that's already strike one. Now, we're getting reports that Hegseth also sent this classified material on a separate signal chat to people that have no clearance whatsoever, to include his wife, his attorney, and his brother. Now, I don't know if his brother's been vetted and whether he has a classified, but that doesn't really matter because Signal is not a secure server, essentially, okay? Now, Hegseth should never have shared this classified material on an encrypted server or on Signal Chat, okay? And I want to break down why everything that was put on there was classified. It gave times of aircraft departure, weather favorability, the aircraft and the drones to be used before the operation took part. Lieutenant Cruz, is the director of the DIA, conceded during hearings that the following material was discussed on said Signal Chat. Weapon systems and times were included before the operation was even conducted. When operations take place before they happen, they are done on secret classified servers and channels or locations. Sometimes they are done in places known as a SCIF, which is a sensitive compartmented information facility, where you cannot even take your cell phone inside of. The military has, and I have no doubt the White House has many places similar to this. You cannot disclose operations that you discussed on secret classified materials onto materials that are not secret or unclassified, and to parties that have no clearance. Anyone who has had a clearance, like myself, you would know this. Finally, it has been confirmed that the CENTCOM commander, General Michael E. Kurilla, that used a secure line to the SecDef on these times when the targets of Yemen would be hit. That is inarguable. To say that this is complete innocent is absurd. To say that nobody would be hurt, just to say that because nobody got hurt is absurd. Nobody has to get hurt and for this to be a big deal. Now, General David Petraeus, a former CENTCOM commander, is believed to have leaked classified materials to his mistress. He was not authorized as material. He was punished and forced to resign from his position. Chelsea Manning leaked to WikiLeaks classified material and spent time in prison for it. Jack Teixeira leaked classified material on Discord, and he was recently sentenced to 15 years in prison for this. At a minimum, Pete Hegseth has proven he is incapable of being SecDef and needs to resign immediately.
Okay, thank you for being here. Appreciate it, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, as we get into this show. Last but certainly not least, Grid Motorsports. Give us what you got.
Yeah, I'm good. The only reference we have to it is someone who is not authorized to even know about it, complaining to NPR. That is in itself absurd, but okay, we'll go with it just for the sake of the argument. We don't know what was said because nobody knows except Hegseth. And this is actually one of the things that really pisses off the DoD staffers is they can't read his mail like they can everywhere else. The DoD hasn't been able to crack Signal. It is absolutely encrypted, and they know it, and they hate it. And they hate him for using it because he can keep his plan secret. Also, he probably literally, this is probably going to end up boiling down to, hey, honey, I'm going to be home. Don't wait dinner. I might be home around 8 or 9. I got to smoke some Houthis first. And, so we don't know, and that's where we're at. And we're going to get into a lot more, but from this moment forward, let's do the battle, man. Let's go.
Okay. I guess to start off, so thank you all for being here. Honestly, if you're going to enjoy this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, hit the follow button if you're on Twitch or Kick. But I guess to start off, just to get a temperature check, and see where everyone's at. Let's talk about the first Signal chat, the one where the reporter was added to. Do we all agree that, or I guess I'll ask it this way. Was the information that Hegseth sent out about the Houthis in that Signal chat classified or not? What do we think?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do the other
In the first one?
In the first one, yes.
Yes.
Who determines what's classified?
There's general standards.
The DoD, the
Yeah.
ODNI, they're the ones that make that determination.
So that'd be like Hegseth and Trump, right? Is that so? Just to be clear.
And also people and also like forward commanders, they're the ones that send out, because like I said in my opening statement, the CENTCOM commander actually sent this over a secret server. It's not up for debate. He literally sent this over a secret server. It was communicated to the Secretary of Defense.
Fine, he can do that, and then Hegseth can say this is no longer classified. Anybody can say it, but let's just allow that it is classified. Who set up that meeting via Signal?
It was what's his face? The other guy.
It was a staffer, correct? It was and somebody that known better, but didn't for whatever reason. Hegseth didn't actually set that up, did he?
I don't know if he did.
The person who created hold on, just
right? Like
the person who created the group chat. The person who created the group chat was Michael Walls.
It doesn't matter, actually.
Right, Michael Walls, but the thing is that, like, Michael Walls answers to Hegseth, and I mean, if you have that sort of power over somebody, you do have some responsibility for what people below you do, and you have the responsibility to be like, whoa, we can't be talking on here.
Let me ask you a question. If I work for a law firm, right, and say, and this is a real life example that I'm going to use. Say the boss screws up, and I don't catch their mistake, right? And I'm the person who's supposed to make sure that all the mistakes are good before they go out. Whose fault is it? Is it the boss's fault? Sure. But it's actually my fault. Same thing if I'm making the group chat. It's my fault that I added these people because the boss trusted me. Yeah, maybe the boss has some responsibility to hire that person, but if anybody should be fired, it's not him, it's Walls. So I don't really. This is a pretty weak argument that we have going on here.
It's not a weak argument.
No, my argument was that wasn't my argument.
So Hegseth did the right thing, and he said, "Hey, look, you set this meeting up. You did it wrong. I can't have somebody like that on my staff." And he did the right thing.
Well,
so
here's
that a problem for you? To everybody.
We are completely missing the point here. Okay, you can't
put
classified material.
You're missing the point. I would just like you to admit that. If somebody else does something, you can't do. You can't hold.
It does not matter. It does not matter.
It absolutely matters.
No. You have to understand something. You can't. It's Secretary of Defense Hegseth that put the classified material, the material that is classified because the operation hadn't even kicked off yet. That is classified at that point. You cannot take that information and put it on an unclassified server. You can't do that. That is breaking the law. It does. There's no other way to swing it.
He's the one that determines what's classified, though.
Right.
You can't do that.
You keep coming back to this thing that doesn't exist because Hegseth is the one that literally determines this is classified and that isn't. It's him. He's the guy.
Did he declassify it?
Saying things that don't matter because he's the guy. It's just like the Signal app. Just like using the Signal app. And I understand why all the staffers are pissed about the Signal app because they want to read Hegseth's mail. They've been able to do it to every Secretary of Defense for a long time now. Read all the emails. This is what the DoD does. And also the Pentagon, but we'll just stick with just calling it the DoD for general purposes. This is what they do. They want to know everything about everybody and have dirt on everybody. But they can't with Hegseth because of Signal. And so they're pissed. They're pissed about that. And they're going to continue to hedge and push against the use of something that they can't spy on.
Well, it's really crazy.
Just one time. Let Gibbs go and then Katiusha. Gibbs and Katiusha.
Sure, it's really crazy to me, like how much they're objecting to this. I didn't see the lefties objecting to the use of Hillary's private email.
What aboutism? We're not talking about Hillary.
Cool.
We're doing this again.
Hold on, we are doing this. We are doing this. We are doing this. It's called. Hold on. It's called. It's called.
Topic of discussion.
Hold on. Are you going to finish?
Give him a second.
So the point that I'm making here is we didn't talk about. None of the people on the left cared about Hillary's email servers or private email servers. Nobody cared about Biden having these classified documents with his son who's smoking crack and sucking hookers' dicks next to it, right? We didn't care about none of that. But hold on. So we're going to hold this one standard for these guys, and then we're going to hold another standard for a guy whose staffer put the wrong person in there, and then, a guy that's talking to his family about stuff in a Signal app that they can't even prove what's in there. We're going to hold these standards equal. And then y'all are going to sit here and scream, ooh, whataboutism. But no, what this is called accountability and holding equal accountability. Y'all can sit here and say, well, these things were bad too, but There was no crimes persecuted on these people. There was no firing of Hillary. There was no firing of Biden. And yet, y'all are sitting here screaming, we want Hegseth fired for something he really didn't even do. Like, I just, it's pretty crazy to me. And it really just shows that y'all have no backbone or no actual standards.
I want to give it to Katiusha, and then I'm going to let Alex respond. So Katiusha and then Alex, go ahead.
Right. So in response to Grid 1 Motorsports, even if, like, you know, Pete Hegseth could just declassify whatever he wants, and this is how it works, and this is perfectly accepted, then, you know, shouldn't we be asking him to resign because we have a head of the DoD who is making decisions that serve him but put service members at potential risk? Like, isn't that disqualifying that somebody is not doing their job to the point where they're putting service members at risk? And secondarily, towards Gibbs, yes, these people have, like, they've faced accountability in one way or another. For example, emails could have cost Hillary the election. I mean, I think that that's a bigger deal than being asked to resign. And it's not like we're saying that Pete needs to be thrown in jail necessarily. This is the debate on if he should be asked to resign / get fired. That's a different standard of evidence and a different standard of wrongdoing.
Can I respond to the first part?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Just so we're clear, right? Just so we're clear.
Okay.
Hegseth is cleaning house, and they don't like it. And they're going to do everything they can to push back on this. We don't know that anyone was ever in danger. And by the way, the mission where the staffer added the reporter, literally the staffer invited the people. Hegseth didn't. Everybody keeps saying Hegseth put that guy in the chat. Hegseth didn't even know who that fucking guy was. And that is a lie. That's literally a lie. It's an untruth. He did not do that. And you keep maintaining that he did in fact do that, but he didn't. Yeah, sure, he put the material out there because everybody that was supposed to be in that meeting was supposed to be approved for it. You can't.
Not for Signal Chat, no, but, yeah. They were approved to hear the information, not in that channel.
Well, the Signal's more secure than anything else right now. Like, literally, like the DoD cannot break it. Is that
how we all have a record of what happened in that chat because it was so secure?
They have a record because the reporter who was added copied it, but the DoD cannot break the encryption on Signal. Period.
Right, but during the normal communication channels, the way that things are supposed to be done, you can't just, like, have some rando just add another random guy he had in his cell phone.
Has
okay?
Happened, has it not? Has it happened?
Has it happened? I mean, in what way? What are we talking about specifically?
Been added into meetings that they are not supposed to be in.
Into meetings? I'm sure they've been added to shit that they can't be a part of, but not like a random person off the street.
Okay. All right.
There's a difference between somebody else in the DoD and, like, some random freaking guy.
But it was the staffer that added it. Hegseth didn't. You keep moving past that part.
Hegseth was in there when he made the mistake. If you make a massive mistake in front of, like, somebody who is responsible for you,
Hegseth's mistake?
Because sometimes if you're in a supervisory position and you're there when it happens, the onus is on you to say, whoa, we need to not do this. We need to follow these rules.
He didn't even know who was in that meeting. It was
that's a huge problem.
Number of people in the meeting. Do you not understand? He doesn't know everybody in his chain of command. Just like when a general speaks to a group of people, he doesn't know every single officer.
All right, I got to step in now.
Go ahead,
okay, so
Alex.
first things first. All right, so first things first, okay? I gave 2 examples already that I said were appropriate. The Chelsea Manning story of leaking WikiLeaks, military operations stuff, which was classified information, and Jack Teixeira leaked it on Discord. That is much more relevant than us talking about Biden or Hillary. I mean, we can even, if we wanted to go whataboutisms all day long, I mean, we can go to town. I can even talk about General Petraeus, which I actually brought up. But I'm focusing on this matters because a military operation was getting ready to kick off. And I don't give a shit who set up the damn server. I don't care whether you're not supposed to take classified or secret material of an operation about to kick off and you put it on an unsecured server. I don't care how secure you think Signal is. It's not secret. It's not top secret. You don't put that information on there. You're briefed about this stuff in the military all the time. You're not even supposed to say where you are. That's called operational security. But they literally broke those guidelines. The ODNI made very clear policy about this. The DoD has this in a policy. It's even in an executive order that was signed earlier this year that you're not supposed to disclose any of this stuff, the equipment being used. And guess what? Now the Houthis are now keeping track of stuff that's coming to airspace. They're shooting down drones. Yeah, nobody got hurt. But It could have happened, but nobody has to get hurt. Nobody has to get shot down.
Again,
yeah, go ahead.
Ask you once again, Alex.
Hmm?
Who designates what is classified and unclassified?
There's usually a hierarchy of who can determine whether it's classified
Who
or
is
unclassified.
the guy that does that? Is it the Secretary of Defense?
It can be the president, it can be the Secretary of Defense, but did he declassify it though?
And all right, so let's just say that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, that it's okay. What does that do for your argument, sir? Because now he said, "Hey, it's fine, it's cool," because I declassified it.
He didn't though. That's the thing. They are saying that this is.
We don't know that he didn't. We don't know that he didn't.
Why are you doing that? He can psychologically declassify shit argument, really?
But the thing is,
no, we don't know. We don't know all of the private communication.
Okay, I have a question. Just real quick, I have a question then. So, do you think, and this is to Grid, do you think it would be a good thing?
Hyperbolic here.
Sure.
So.
Do you think, Grid, do you think it would be a good thing if the President of the United States, 2 hours before a military operation, had decided to declassify when that operation was kicking off, what munitions were being used, what weapon systems were being used? Do you think that would make the American servicemen who were involved in that operation more safe or less safe?
We're talking about the first operation,
yes,
correct?
The first.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. So here's my, just again, my viewpoint on it.
I'm just assuming, I'm assuming if he did, which we have no evidence that he did,
bit,
right?
Like I have no control. I have no problem sacking the guy that invited the reporter because he was on a fucking mailing list of people who had attended previous meetings. I have no problem with saying, hey, you know what? You should have done your damn research. I got no problem with getting rid of that staffer because he doesn't know, he actually is supposed to know that. Hegseth just gives an order and it's supposed to be followed. So that problem, I don't have a problem with that part of it. My problem is that it's a signal. He shouldn't have done it on signal. Hegseth as a Secretary of Defense can designate any system he fucking wants as being capable of holding classified material and in fact being classified. The only reason we don't even know how many times he's used it because it's that secure. And the Pentagon's all pissed off about this because they can't read his emails. You guys keep glossing over this. They can't even tell you, by the way, if it were unsecure, why don't we know exactly what was said?
We do in the
past
first
couple of days.
You're editorializing.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are editorializing. You're saying that it's because they're salty, they're so triggered, they're mad.
The whole time.
Yeah, they're not mad about it necessarily because they want to be able to read his emails. You're using that as an excuse, and that is you editorializing.
It's a little bit that. It's a little bit that. But I mean, let's just go look at this, right? I mean, for example, let's just talk about the second one, right? So we've been talking about the first one. The second alleged one is that we get the information from a man named John. I'm going to butcher his name. Ulyat. I guess is his name, right? That's the guy that put out the piece in Politico saying, basically, oh, he's been texting his wife and shit, whatever. And that's all we have. We don't know what he said. And we only have that he texted another signal chat with his wife and a lawyer and brother or whatever, allegedly, right? And they've already come out and said this guy's full of shit. He's just a anti-Trumper, yada yada, holdover from the previous administrations. And well, sure. But I'm sitting here going, hey, I for one kind of believe them on this. Like, there's plenty of examples within just since he's taken over of holdovers and people that are working against him. Look at like USAID, right? What was their deputy guy saying? Shred until they can't stop shredding until you need to burn them or whatever. Like, have the burn bags ready. Like, and that's clearly somebody trying to slow him down. It's the same thing here. This looks like some kind of insider job where they're trying to hit him with a hit piece. It's a nothing burger, and they're just reaching for something because there's nothing of really real substance after he's already had major success with Panama, and he had success for the court shut him down with the stopping the transgender funding, and he's been cutting the agency, the military right now, cutting all the frills. He's been listening to recommended Doge cuts. These are all good things, and I for one am excited about that. And shame on y'all for trying to shut him down with a nothing burger.
Wait, so you're saying that, like,
You know what the hell
okay,
I'm
so
talking about,
he
though.
did something
Right.
that could have put service members in danger, like literally, and he did something that is a complete flagrant, disregard for any type of classification, procedures and why they're even in place. And you're saying that, actually it's totally fine and we're just like inventing it out of nowhere. What? So like, because we're mad about like transgender surgery,
that.
again, that issue? Like,
We don't-
what? That's
I mean,
insane.
I'm mad about it. I don't want my tax dollars going to that, for one. So, yes, I'm mad about it. And two, yeah, I mean, sure, could have put them at risk.
No, but you're saying
I
that
mean,
we're so mad about him
mean,
cutting like
let's
transgender fund or whatever the fuck that we're gonna.
let's just play your game.
We're
Let's just
reading
say
a lot already.
let's just
We're gonna just
hold
get
on, hold
mad
on.
about
No, I'll
fucking
play your
what?
game. I'll play your game. Let's just say that 100% it could have put them at risk. I don't believe it could have, but let's just say, what percentage do you assign that first signal chat? What percentage amount do you think it allowed them to be at risk? Was it like 1% that someone was at risk? Do you think it was 100% somebody was going to be at risk? Like, what percentage do you think the Houthis had to act on the info that was allegedly in that first signal chat? What do you think?
Well, I think that greatly depends on who the person is that was accidentally added the group chat. With this guy, he obviously didn't leak anything and he had integrity. So with this situation, yeah, the percentage was not high. But the problem
less
is
than
the
0%?
principle. That's fine. Less than zero. Less than zero?
Yeah, less than 0% the Houthis were able to act on
I
that
don't know if
information.
we can have negative percent here.
Well, yeah, I'm
But-
saying, okay, less than 1. So
Okay, you could go with that one if you'd
0.55%,
like
whatever.
to. But
Like,
I mean,
wow.
here's my thing, right? Like, we do things as a procedure for a reason. Like, if you just make excuse, oh, this time it didn't turn out bad. Oh, this time it didn't turn out bad. People don't have regulations, rules, like ways that things are done, SOPs, because, oh, well, it turned out like, this is how it turned out bad every time. Like, it's to prevent things from happening. If this becomes like a thing that he and other people just use, I mean, the problem that makes it not secure is that individuals can be added without being in the pool of people who have already been, been
Let me ask
chosen
the
to be classified.
Let me ask the naysayers, okay? If Signal is so star-spangled awesome, what's the point of having secret servers then? What's the point? Why not just stick with Signal then?
I mean, that's a real good question.
Yeah,
That's
that's
exactly.
actually there's actually a bunch of good questions in there. First of all,
Yeah, that's a real good question.
Are you asking why they don't do all of their business on an app that can't do all of their business? I mean,
Well, hold on. You were a service member, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell me, and Wick was too. So y'all can tell me, what is the current process? Isn't there a machine that they have to use in their own homes to talk that's super inefficient and a pain in the ass to use? I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but isn't there one of those?
There's a couple different devices, yes.
Okay, so it's hard to use. It's not just something
It's
like
not hard to use.
yeah, but it's a pain in the ass to use.
It's not a pain in the ass to use.
Okay, well, I've heard otherwise, but the point is,
Okay, you've read.
do you agree that technology advances?
Of course it does.
Okay, so if we have a new app like Signal that's peer-to-peer encrypted and does the exact same thing as this military tech, but better and with less of a pain in the ass, are you against advancing things to modern tech levels?
I'm going to bring you back to reality, Gibbs. It's not the
Oh.
same thing. It's not the same thing.
Ah.
It literally is not the same thing because Signal has a different level of encryption that is not nearly as sophisticated as secret and top secret information. All this
why
information
haven't they been able to crack it then?
Well, here's the thing, and also we talk about this. If he legitimately thought, "Hey, these systems are so difficult to use, why doesn't he use this unlimited power that you're saying he has to go ahead and try to work towards developing a team to go and improve these situations within the DoD instead of just using it for himself privately?" Okay, like if it's that big a problem.
He has been trying to implement it, but that's
What has he been trying to implement?
But that's a great question. So let me ask you, because this seems relevant. If Hegseth was going to root out a mole, a leaker, somebody like the 4 people he fired a week and a half ago for leaking stories to the press, how would he go about doing that?
What do you mean specifically? If he was
Are you
going
saying
to...
that's what he did?
I'm asking you a question. How would he go about doing that? Because nobody knows what's in the text from this week or last week or whatever the fuck.
Well, why doesn't nobody know what's in the text? Why? Because they just said it wasn't secure. Here's the crazy part about Signal. Not only is Signal so secure, Biden, put it in the government to use it for some things, but it's so secure. Not even Signal itself can read the messages because it's peer-to-peer encrypted. So you're telling me it's not secure when it sounds like it's even more secure than what we have currently.
It's not though.
We're not.
What proof do you have of that? What proof do you have of that?
No. What do you mean? What? What
proof do you have? Yeah, what proof do you have of it not being more secure?
Okay.
Other than it's a user lapse.
If Signal was so secure, then why didn't the Biden administration use secret messages on theirs? Why is it happening under this
Why did
administration?
Biden administration do anything? I mean, that's a good question.
That's not what I asked. You need to answer that question.
We don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that he didn't.
Biden didn't do it. We know that he didn't do
a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't to be used for secret and top secret information. I cannot stress
How do
this
you
enough.
know that?
You're not supposed to. This is DoD
Right.
policy.
Okay, so
if it is secure,
it's DoD
then how do you know that?
So one of the problems that we're having here isn't so much that it's Signal that's insecure, but you know what is? People's personal devices.
There you
People's
go, Wick.
personal devices, and the fact that they were using their personal devices while in foreign countries such as Russia, right? In order to have this conversation means that as secure as Signal might be, their phones are far less secure and easily.
Well, that's
not
interesting,
easily, but
Wick,
easily
because
enough hackable. Right?
because
And
Biden.
if I may finish, right?
Here we go with Biden
This is
again.
why there are
That's what he
policies in
does.
place. There are policies in place which prevent us, as someone who holds a top secret security clearance, from using our personal devices to communicate classified intel. Right? Secretary of Defense Hegseth knows this, and yet he chose to do it anyway.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Wick, because under the Biden administration in 2024, CISA released a mobile communications best practice guideline for highly targeted individuals who were defined as high-ranking government officials or politicians who are likely to possess information of interest to threat actors. Specifically, Russia and China are mentioned. So the reason for that being is because of the security aspect to it. So if Biden and them are saying it's super secure, and specifically for people with high value information that these other foreign threats would want, that indicates to me that it sounds like a lot of bitching out of the left right now that is just crying because even Biden said this was the best practice.
So that's really cool. But my question is, what credentials do you have to, like, if you're logged into your phone, right? I have Signal on my cell phone. I'm logged into my phone. Like, I put in my password. What do I have to do to be able to send a message on Signal? Can I just click on the fucking app and I'm logged in? What? Do I have to put in another password every time? What?
Well, I'll tell you this, but I don't know. But I do know what CISA says, which they go on to say.
No, I'm asking a question. That's great.
Hold on. CISA strongly urges highly targeted individuals to immediately review and apply the best practices below to practice mobile communications. Highly targeted individuals should assume that all communications between mobile devices, which is what Brick brought up, including government and personal devices and internet services, are at risk of interception or manipulation. While no single solution eliminates all risks, implementing these best practices significantly enhances protection of sensitive communications against government and affiliated other malicious cyber actors. The guide reads, referring to Signal. Mm-hmm. So y'all are just going against y'all's own procedures that y'all were just bitching about not being followed.
Go ahead, Grid. I got a question, but go ahead, Grid. You had to do something.
Yeah, I mean,
any answer for that though?
Really focused on we seem to be really focused on the technology, and I just want to. I was going to kind of change a little bit, but I'm trying to. My chat's helping me out here. 1 second. It's AES-256 encryption. Is the like the top level, and I'm not really sure what all that entails. I don't use Signal because I have no reason to. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to encrypt anything. But at the end of the day, you guys aren't really moving the needle for me that much because all you keep doing is talking about something that may have been said. It was leaked by somebody that nobody knows who it is to NPR of all people. I mean, that's ridiculous in and of itself. And the past incident, which you keep talking about, but which has already been settled. Trump said it's a nothing burger. It's fine. Who cares?
Oh,
it's
good
cool.
for him.
And yes, good for him because it's his cabinet. It's his Department of Defense. You guys keep talking like that he's a grunt in the field, and he's not. He
Well, and
gets
he's
to make
unfit
the
too.
decisions.
Fuck him. You know, like,
He
what do you want me to
gets
say?
make the decisions. Hegseth gets to do this. It's not like a general, and that's probably what pisses the generals off, by the way, is that they're not him. And they're pissed at him because he's not a general.
So you think that
And
just
they think
real
that
quick?
he should not be where he is.
So you think it's okay for the Secretary of Defense
It's
to leak
true.
classified info that would get someone who was an
did
enlisted
he
person
leak
lose a
classified
stripe
info?
and arrested?
When
Do
did
you think it's
he
okay for him
leak
to do that?
classified info?
It
Yes,
was
he
literally on
did.
the signal chat. It was on the signal chat.
It was on the
It's not even
signal
about
chat.
When
an
did
unsecure
he?
signal
Are you
chat.
talking about the first instance
The first
where a
instance.
staffer
And the-
invited the wrong person?
Again,
It
That
doesn't
includes
matter.
the whole
if I
thing.
may, he didn't vet it
Yeah, go ahead.
properly. This is one of the reasons why they don't let people use unsecure devices, such as their personal devices, because you cannot verify who else is on the line, such as when you're in a Signal
Using
group
Sig-
chat. If this had happened over a skiff, there would be 0% chance
There-
that someone who was not supposed to be there would be there. None. 0%, right? Because they don't have access to the skiff. And this is why it's a problem. My issue here is that if I had done this when I was in the service, I would be, at the very least, lose my clearance, lose a stripe, and probably face jail time or charges. And the fact that he is able
I
to
gotta
do
ask you
that
something,
and
Wade.
face no repercussions shows a very big double standard where the elites get to get away with shit that the rank and file do not, and that's a problem for me.
So just one point of clarification. You can absolutely see who's on the call-in signal, according to the information I have. And Hegseth knew that the people that were there knew that there were this many people there. He just didn't know the imp reporter had been added because he didn't recognize his name, but he assumed he was vetted by the staffer whose job it was to vet them.
That's a
Well,
and that makes it
What
worse.
happened to the
You
buck
can
stops with the
understand-
person on top?
you can
That-
understand
I-
why we
it-
don't accept that as a good
Ignorance of the
excuse.
law, ignorance, it does not make an excuse. I'm sorry. It does not fucking work that way.
It's
Because we
not
need to come to
ignorance of
understand.
the law.
It
That's
is-
a moronic argument.
is
Why would
ignorance.
you do that? Why would you say
No.
that? That's ridiculous.
He's being completely ignorant because he literally posted classified information on this signal chat. And it doesn't matter whether he knew people on
Yeah,
there
it's
or
not
not.
server.
It-
So
no,
I'm glad you
it-
finally
it's-
got that right.
it's not a secure
Bert.
server.
Here's a problem there, Alex. The problem is that the staffer is responsible for making sure the people are vetted. You are trying to say
Okay.
the law is the law, and sure, the law is the law.
It is.
But
If
the
I was
staffer,
just
it's
real
his
quick,
job.
just real
It's
quick,
like you
You
saying
can't
that
let
the
people
general
into
should be
skiffs on
fired.
accident.
It's literally
But you
like
can
you
let
saying
people on
the
the sides.
general should be fired because a lieutenant gave the wrong job to somebody else, right? When what happens is the general goes to the lieutenant and says, "Hey, what the fuck, man? This shit's wrong. That's a wrong job. You gave the wrong guy the clearance here." And the guy says, "Yeah, you know what? I fucked up.
No.
All right. Well, you know what? You're no longer a lieutenant anymore."
I-
And
can
that's
I-
the
I really got to jump in on this
drawing
because
false
Go ahead.
equivalencies, and I can't let you do it. I can't.
No,
There's
I-
no reason to continue drawing false equivalencies.
I would like to get
not
that after you.
possible- no.
Go ahead,
Alex,
Dip.
then
I'm
Alex,
sorry.
then
I've talked
Alex,
too
then
much. I apologize.
Gibbs.
But here's the problem though, because and Katya just said it, you don't accidentally let people in on a skiff. If somebody is unauthorized to be in there, you don't disclose information that is not supposed to be disclosed to unauthorized parties. And once again, I cannot stress this enough. When I brought up Jack Texera, he leaked classified materials on a Discord server, and guess what? He's going to prison. Chelsea Manning leaked classified materials on an unsecured server. It was basically like, it was WikiLeaks. It's not secure.
They did it. He did it, and
so
they
did
did it
Pete Hegseth.
intentionally.
And Pete
You-
Hegseth
you
did
are
the exact
literally
same
just-
thing.
again, you keep
No.
using the same
Grid.
moronic argument. Make a
You
better
gotta
argument.
Grid, you're not listening, sir. You are not listening
Yeah.
whatsoever. Okay. It's classified material because the operation hadn't kicked off yet. He literally gave the weapons, the platforms to be used, the weather clearance, the times that to be leaked. This is classified information. It's not up for debate. And he put this on an unclassified server. He can't do that.
Server. You keep
It
saying
is.
server. It's not server.
Server, chat, it doesn't matter. Tomato, it doesn't really matter. We need to come to understanding. You
Always
guys are just trying to you're trying to gloss
Semantics,
over the word. No, you're glossing over what's really
I'm
important
not
here.
glossing over anything. I'm being
You
accurate
are.
because accuracy matters.
You're not being accurate. I'm actually.
If only Hegseth
had
had cared about accuracy when he went through and tried to vet who was on the chat.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing is, what's interesting is that
Hegseth's job is not to vet every single person invited to the meeting. That's the staffer's job, and the staffer lost.
If I'm a sergeant, and then one of my guys that I'm in charge of fucks up, guess who's getting in trouble? Both of us. We're both getting in trouble. We're both facing issues because I, as a commander, am responsible for what my people under me do.
Is your general going to get in trouble?
Yeah, that's the better question.
It depends. If the general specifically appoint me, then he might.
If the general says, all right,
if the general gives me a job to do.
If the captain comes by, if the OD comes by and he says, "Hey, Wick, I need you to get 2 people, and I need this rock wall torn down and moved over there 100 feet," and he comes back through there, or somebody walks by and that rock wall is not done, who gets in trouble?
Did he give a time when it needs to be done by?
Hold on. If the general, and I'll give you a better example, a better question here. If the general says, "Hey, here's some secret documents, Wick, and you need to take care of them," okay, and then I don't take care of them and I let someone see them that I'm not supposed to, the general absolutely is going to get in trouble too. Not as much as me, but he's absolutely going to be talked to as well.
Maybe Pete Hegseth needs the Harry Truman sign on his desk too.
The buck stops.
The buck stops here.
Well, it's interesting though. I would like to point out though, because earlier the argument that we were hearing when we began this debate was, oh, they didn't follow procedures, right? And like I said, the CISA guidelines specifically cited that government officials should download end-to-end encrypted communications platforms, and this is what you brought up, Wick, to their cell phones and computers, specifically citing the Signal app as an app to download to comply with best practices. Okay, so that tells me, one,
the government phones or the personal phones, because at least in the military we got government phones.
It says both. Personal, so okay, so this hold on. So that to me tells me they're at least following procedure. And here's the crazy part: it's not even procedure set up by Trump. It's a procedure previously established in 2024 under Biden, but nobody cared then. Now, here's the second thing, right? So y'all keep bringing up this guy. Okay, Hegseth should have got his staff or whatever, yada yada yada. Okay, listen, I've worked a lot of jobs in my day, right? And there is a line where it's like, okay, if you're El Jefe at top, you've delegated stuff to people lower than you. Now, it seems to me like he delegated stuff to lower and someone fucked up. Now, I guess it looks bad on you that you delegated to somebody and somebody fucked up. But I got to be honest, even if you have the best employee in the world, my best employee at my company has fucked up a time or two. Now, I wouldn't fire them even because they made me tons of money. But I wouldn't fire just because they screwed up once. Now, if they came in and they cost me millions of dollars, maybe. But this is not millions of dollars. This was, a potential risk, which was less than 1%, if we're being really honest, was potentially in there. And, yeah, sure. It maybe if it was like whatever. And I'm gonna quote something. Y'all remember Joseph Heller's novel, and it was turned into a movie, Catch-22, where they had the character of Major, and he was turned into a major. All right. He actually stated in interviews later that this was based off of stories he had been told about during World War II of bureaucratic hiccups. Now, if bureaucratic hiccups can come to the point where people are getting wrong ranks or being assigned to wrong things, and this actually cost people's lives during maybe one of the biggest wars of all time, and they didn't get fired, they just had to fulfill that role, then, I'm a little bit more skeptical that we should fire Hegseth, the head of the department, over the screw-up of Sally, the intern, or this other guy, Mike Walls. Maybe he should be fired, but absolutely not Hegseth over something this other guy did after he delegated downwards. Because, it seems like World War II precedent, we didn't do that.
I mean, Hegseth clearly reified and continued the practice of, showing unclassified or unvetted people classified information using Signal. So, I mean, if the first time he was adding accident people on by mistake, this time, obviously, he's sending it.
Okay, Gibbs, I gotta ask you. Does your source indicate that Signal was uploaded to classified or secret phones? Does it say that anywhere?
I can pull. Yeah, it says for personal and government use phones. It says that.
I didn't say government use. I said secret phones.
I don't know what secret phones are about that.
Exactly. That's my fucking point. That is because you see, you have government phones that are like nipper phones, and then you've got secret phones. That is a completely different level of classification. Because that's what I was trying to talk about earlier. The general, the CENTCOM commander, was communicating with the Secretary of Defense on one device. That is a secret device. That's how they can maintain.
Is that
those
issued by the
communications.
government?
Yes.
So then it probably falls under the government issue phones thing, especially when it's in regards to hostile areas, like embassy people in Russia is one of the people like areas that list. I would assume they would probably have secret phones. Would you assume that?
That's a different level of encryption. That's completely different, though.
Yeah. So what my point is, though, they're saying under the Biden administration, it was supposedly.
We're not talking about the Biden administration.
Hold on. Yeah, but
You're not the Biden administration.
Hold on.
You
I'm
keep
not
going
even.
to the
I'm
Biden
not even
administration,
bashing.
sir.
I'm not even bashing Biden here. I'm just pointing out these are the guidelines set forth, right? Under the
Biden
Biden
derangement
administration.
syndrome.
Hold on, and it's still being used today. So y'all argued about the procedures. The procedure is high level government members in threat areas are recommended on their personal and government issued things to download the Signal app to use. So if a secret phone is a government issue phone in a high value target area, that seems to me like something that would be covered under that directive. Would you agree?
It's not.
They're all directed to use
No.
Signal.
You have to understand.
people
No.
hearing
You have
an
to understand
argument.
something. Anytime you actually have to carry a classified phone, classified documents, classified files, there's something that you're issued. It's called basically being a courier. Okay, you're only authorized to. That meaning only authorized people can carry this device. I mean, it's. I can't be any more clear about this stuff. I mean,
So
only
everybody that was in that meeting had a similar exact device.
What?
No,
That's not
which
what I
was
said.
the problem.
But everyone that was supposed to be in the meeting was supposed to be on such a device.
If you're going to be talking about war plans, you need to use a skiff. You need to use specific devices. Yes, that's the problem here. Is that they were in a group chat where not everyone was using that device.
Here is the issue that I find interesting, and maybe I'm sure it's just me, but the staffer that set this whole thing up, didn't he? I mean,
He was
how
told
did he
to
set
set it up.
Fine, fire him. Fire him.
Well-
I'm fine with it.
No, how did he even set it up? I mean, how did that even work?
They put it on a group chat, and they added people to the group chat on the personal phones from the personal numbers, which is the whole problem. And they all knew that this is on our personal phones, and we're communicating very classified information on a personal device. That's the problem. Signal is a red herring, right? It's the personal devices and the fact that not everyone there could be vetted properly.
Would you be upset if a person with no security clearance was, say, in a top secret cabinet meeting?
Yes.
Oh, so then you think we should prosecute Joe Biden?
Why? What happened?
Because she allegedly was running cabinet meetings.
Who is
Oh,
she?
Jill Biden. Okay.
Jill Biden.
I was like, Joe Biden? He was a president.
She doesn't have security clearance, and she was allegedly running
Was the
cabinet meetings.
Was the cabinet meetings
Wait,
dealing
wait,
with
no, no,
classified?
stop.
Hold on.
Wait, she
Was the
doesn't?
cabinet meetings dealing with classified information?
Because I was curious.
What was it? What was the cabinet meeting about?
Well, we don't know because
No, we do.
So how can you wait? How are you going to make
He
that
could be
argument?
just
You don't
having
know what was being
breakfast. You don't know
discussed.
that.
Seriously.
I mean,
How
I'm
are you
just
going to make that
saying,
argument?
should we prosecute? Should she be prosecuted
No.
afterwards for running cabinet meetings? Because we don't know because they were closed cabinet meetings.
Gibbs, Gibbs,
If you're,
have you been drinking,
Oh,
sir?
they were closed cabinet
not
meetings.
yet, but I might
but-
after
but-
this. Who
no.
knows?
No, but because the thing is, that's completely separate. Okay, unless you're going to tell me that she was in the situation room getting situation
Just
reports,
real quick. We
essentially.
know what
So
we
wait,
know. Hold on.
The president chose what was
Just real
classified and
quick.
declassified. What happened to that?
Just
kid?
real quick.
Well, I'll tell you what
Because
happened
we
is
do
he was
know who.
investing.
Hold on. We do know what cabinet meeting Jill Biden was in. It's not a secret. We know. You know what it was about? The updates on Women's Health Initiative.
Is that the only ones?
That's the
not
one
what the
she
reports
was on. Yes.
That's not what the reports are saying. They come out. They said
What
that she was allegedly
report?
a bunch of
That
them.
was- Okay, what else? What else?
I mean, allegedly she was in there running the cabinet ever since Joe Biden was mentally incapable.
Okay,
of
that's
doing it. That's what
just
people are
not
arguing.
true. We know
Wow.
what cabinet meeting she was in.
Wow.
We know what she was running, quote unquote, and it was this specifically. It was a
all you're
women's health
doing is-
initiative, a White House endeavor she has headed since its creation in 2023. The First Lady, generally, historically, does have like a little program that they run that they're given, like kids' health or women's health, or they get to choose. It's a little fun thing for them to do that they're doing. So when we talk about Jill Biden being in a cabinet meeting, right, that's
Not
the
the
cabinet
same.
meeting she was in.
What about Hunter
It's-
Biden being in cabinet meetings? Because he was there, reported in multiple cabinet meetings from
Which
as
cabinet
far back
meetings?
as June 2nd. Apparently, according to NBC, it says there was a bunch of them, a bunch of different meetings with Hunter Biden there.
Was any of it secret or top secret information?
I mean, who knows? He was just in there and a lot of them.
Oh,
Exactly.
who knows?
So basically, you're just trying to do a whataboutism, and you're giving me a
I'm just
hypothetical.
saying,
No.
These
are
are
fine. These are fine.
You are giving me a hypothetical.
Yeah, that's
We're talking
obvious.
about
I'm trying to get you to hold the same standard.
I'm talking about what is actually being proven, and a signal chat did take place, and it's been proven, and it cannot be debated. And you're just trying to toss out all these fucking red herrings and shit.
Just the one.
Red herrings. I mean, I'm just trying to get you to hold the same standard, but you seem incapable of doing
I've
that.
given you the standard.
We're
but you
allowed
keep
to have a
going
different standard depending on the information that's being discussed.
I've literally given you other examples that are more appropriate, but you're like, oh, well, Joe Biden and Jill Biden sat in a cabinet meeting.
Well, I mean, you've been saying, hold on, you've been objecting to me using
time.
anything Biden just when I was pointing out guidelines that are established. I mean, that was pretty dumb. But
I didn't bring up Joe Biden. You brought up Joe Biden, not me.
Yeah, because she was in cabinet meetings, and so was Hunter Biden in cabinet meetings. So,
so were they top secret?
Apparently, he was advising them for years, since he came back. I mean, that's
Wait, Hunter Biden didn't have a
what?
We are getting off topic, but Hunter Biden had no job in the administration, so it's completely fucking irrelevant. I'm sorry, it's completely irrelevant.
Wait, does Trump's kid, Don Jr., have a place in the administration right now?
I never said he did. We're not.
But he still advises Trump, does he not? He still talks.
I don't know what he does. I don't really care either.
Because he comments on things all the time, and people quote him.
Yeah, and he's not very good at it either.
Okay.
Hey, so have a super fun and awesome challenge for everybody. Can we defend Hegseth without the fucking random shit?
I don't care about Hunter. I've never cared about Hunter.
I just want you to have the same standard.
Okay, fine.
But you're not doing that.
You're just being irrelevant. You're just tossing. Go ahead, Greg.
I have a relevant question.
Go ahead.
It is relevant.
So if Trump is talking with Trump Jr. about, top secret and classified things like war plans, which is highly probable and I think has happened, why is that different than Hegseth telling his wife he's not going to be home because he's got to smoke some
If
Houthis?
If Trump is texting his son or his wife or anyone really that isn't read up in or doesn't have a need to know classified war plans, that's bad, and he should be prosecuted for it.
But you were just okay with like Jill Biden basically doing all of Joe Biden's work.
Do you think Women's Health Initiative was classified information or war plans?
Well, I'm saying that once he became mentally incapable, as a judge decided, wasn't she sitting in all these things and basically doing his job for him? Wasn't that, I mean, it seemed like what it was. Okay.
No. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Because we have to come to understanding about something, okay? When it comes down to the discussion of top secret and secret information, classified, unclassified, if Trump says, oh, I can just magically make this stuff unclassified, that means the entire country should be able to see this information, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so all the stuff that he had that's classified information, if he can declassify it, that means he needs to distribute it to the public, essentially, right?
I don't know that there's a call to say need.
Hold on. Are you saying that if it's declassified, it should just be distributed?
Yeah, because unclassified basically means it can be viewed by the public.
Yeah, well, there's a difference there in what you're saying, though. There's if something becomes unclassified, anybody can look it up. Versus, hey, it's declassified. Now I'm going to send it to everybody's news agency.
A technical manual for a howitzer is unclassified, meaning anybody can view it at any time. You just got to know where to look for it. Essentially, that's my entire point. This is why it's so important. This is why verbiage and accuracy, like you said, Grid, is important. If you declassify,
matters, man.
Yeah, if you unclassify something, right? If you unclassify like a report or something like that, means it can be viewed by the public. But there's a reason as to why we classify and keep stuff top secret, especially before an operation kicks off, because there are certain people that are not privy to this information. I mean, how many times do I got to say this to make sure it's drilled in? Essentially, you don't disclose operations, especially before they kick off, on something called Signal. Why? Because it's not secret and it's not top secret. It doesn't matter who is or who is not on the chat. You shouldn't be doing these things.
Well, hold on. What you keep saying it's not secret or top secret or secure, yet the CISA guidelines indicate that it is.
So that's different from the DoD guidelines anyways.
That's best practice. That is literally the best practice established right now in hostile areas is use Signal. And you're saying that this is not secure. Like, that's what's crazy is you're arguing against the own guidelines that the previous admin established and Trump and them have continued. So is your issue with Signal itself or is it with the people? It can't be both. Like, that's the real question.
It can be both.
Well,
it really can be both.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's
if the
dumb.
Biden administration, okay, I'll tell you what. If the Biden administration had leaked top secret classified material on Signal or on unsecured apps, and they find out about this, by all means, drop the hammer. I am all on board with it because it's all about consistency. I talk about all these people that talk about classified material on unsecured sources, links, whatever, however you want to put it. It does not matter. This is my entire point. If you could find, if the Trump administration can find a correlation saying that Biden did the exact same thing in his administration, by all means, drop the hammer. I am all for it. I have no problem with that. But we're talking about what Pete Hegseth did, and you guys are like, oh, no, there's just a one. They're going after a great military hero.
He didn't do it. Once again,
He did.
it was.
Oh,
it was
the
a
staffer.
Okay, did the staffer drop the classified material? Yes or no?
Did the staffer add the guy that shouldn't have been there?
Answer my question. Answer my question, please. Did Hegseth, who dropped the classified material? Please answer.
Who added the staffer?
Who dropped
Using
the classified
Signal is
material?
the problem too.
Who dropped the classified material? Please answer, Gibby.
It sounds like Hegseth dropped it in what he thought was a secure chat because he trusted his employees, and yet one of the employees added somebody that shouldn't be in there. I mean, sure, but you also have to concede that once again, he didn't add them, somebody else did, so it's not even his mistake. It's like if you trust your employees and they do something and you do it later, oh, okay, cool, now I'm somehow accountable for this guy's mistake way down the line. That's ridiculous.
Using it is the problem. That's what he's trying to say, is that using it is the problem. Then it doesn't matter if you added all classified people or fucking whoever the fuck.
If using it is a problem, why is it
It's used widely by the DOD. It's endorsed by the DOD.
It's literally endorsed.
Not for
that use in the DOD.
Hold on, there's just real quick. Here's the thing. It's not approved for communication of secret or classified information. It's approved specifically for things like, hey, you want to get lunch? Hey, what do you want on your order? Like, you want some pepperoni?
Read that again, Gibbs.
There are different levels here.
Wait,
read that again, Gibbs.
Read what again? The CISA thing?
Yeah. The signal thing in hostile environments.
Yeah, long story. I'm not going to read it again because it's a whole paragraph. But yeah, long story short, it's in high-profile areas, for high-targeted individuals, for high-level government officials, are recommended as best practice from CISA to download it on personal computers, on government computers,
but not to use for transfer, for transmission or communication of classified information.
No, except it
talk about anything. That's the point.
Talk about high-value topics of discussion that would be interesting.
This is top secret for imminent fucking attack, bro.
Hold on. Is classified information? Hold on. Is classified information something that would fall into high value?
No,
that's a different standard.
Classified is a different standard.
It will say classified or top secret. It will say it.
You don't think that classified information is highly valuable?
No, not in the same category. Not even close.
Really?
Okay, these are specific. Okay, hold on. These are specific terms that are used in specific ways. They're not something that, it's highly valuable to have classified information. That's not what they mean when they say that.
Well, go ahead. Please, go ahead, because it seems like there's some discrepancy.
You have
between
classifications and you have different levels of classification. You have secret, you have top secret, and there's a bunch of other ones as well, right? Like, for example, you could have different types of security clearances, not just top secret. You have top secret with a single scope investigation background checks. You can have all different sorts of levels of clearance. You have white, you have Yankee white, etc., which gives you access to different information. When they're talking about high-value topics, it's talking about things like, for example, when the Vice President J.D. Vance and Hegseth were talking about what they thought about Europe, right? That's high-valued. It's not necessarily classified, right? It's not communications we want getting out, but it's not classified. And I think that those would be considered high-value topics. But it's not classified, and if that's not all he had done, fair enough.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Hold on. Here's a problem. Here's a problem. They're wrong. They're actually wrong here because guess what? CIA Director John Ratcliffe appeared before the Senate Intelligence Committee and said that they use Signal to talk about classified things. So you telling me that if the CIA
FBI has different standards, the CIA has different standards.
So but the classified documents aspect is the same.
The DoD has a different
Was that CIA
standard.
top secret as well? Like, or were we talking?
Well, I don't know. no,
this
it
is a
depends.
misnomer because-
Interesting that the CIA, maybe one of the most clandestine, secretive organizations in the world, can use it to discuss classified documents. But somehow it's too good for the DOD, I guess. Okay, that makes sense. Come
For
on.
imminent attacks, yeah,
The idea of
probably.
classifieds. So we keep talking about all these terms, and I wasn't going to, but I mean, really, what we're talking about the level of classification that of the conversations Hegseth was having weren't even compartmentalized, which is a higher level than secret, top secret, or classified. Basically, top secret is like getting a top secret clearance is like getting a driver's license. It's super low level. Basically, anybody in the military can get a top secret clearance without any real trouble. Now, classified is a
Hold
little
on.
higher.
What do you have to do to get a top
Compartmentalized
secret? Hold
gets
on.
you into a
Since you
lot
know
of
so much about it,
different
what do you
areas.
need to do to get a top secret clearance in the military? Let's say the Air Force.
It depends. I mean, it depends on your job, I suppose. But I didn't. I
What's
have
the
lots of
process?
people who have top secret clearances work for me, and they didn't seem to think it was any big deal at all to get it.
Okay, but
And
but
some
I'm
of them
asking
still
you
have
what
it.
the process is.
I'll look it up.
Okay, so you don't know what the process is.
I don't think it's particularly hard. Is it hard?
It's not hard, but it is thorough, if that makes sense.
I mean,
So,
is it like the
all
FBI
I had
employment?
to do was answer a questionnaire and go to an interview and give them references so the people would interview different people and they would find other references from there. I didn't have to do much, but the level of thoroughness that people had to go through to vet me was quite high.
So, Wick, how stringent is the CIA's requirements to become a
I don't
CIO?
know the CIA's
I have no
requirements
idea.
It
because they
doesn't
have
matter when
different
they don't have
requirements.
People in the
uniform
CIA
shit
and they don't
between
talk about it.
different groups.
The
I
reason
don't
I
know
asked
much
that,
about the
the reason I
CIA.
asked that is because from what I do know of the CIA, they have pretty stringent, intensive background research that goes into it. And when the CIA director is saying that the first thing they did when he walked in was he got on a computer and the Signal app was already installed, and they use it to discuss classified information. That really blows the whole argument about, oh, we can't use it for classified information out of the water, considering how much classified shit the CIA does, and it's much more dangerous for the CIA information to get leaked than it is for, oh, maybe the Houthis could somehow find out about what this one reporter in America found 10 minutes before the bombs hit him.
2 hours.
Yeah, I gotta, 2 hours.
Yeah, and here's the
gotta
thing.
say, doubt
Hey,
that one's the same.
what-
you know?
You're assuming
wait,
so
wait.
much here. You're making so many assumptions, and
No,
we're
I'm just
negating the fact that there
quoting
are
what John
different
Ratcliffe said.
standards for
one of them's more
for these
stringent.
agencies. And okay, that's great and all,
The
but like
CIA is
if it
more
was
stringent.
so fucking secure, then maybe Pete Hegseth should have changed that on his own, or this should have been a standard and not him deciding to do it
It
on
is
his
the
own.
standard. It is the standard established under the Biden admin.
Okay,
That's
I
what
gotta-
it's
Not
I gotta
in
throw a flag on the
the
play.
DOD.
I got to throw a flag on the play because it is the top of the hour. I'm going to read these super chats,
Right.
make a little bit of money, and then we'll get into and continue the discussion. So continue to give me these super chats. I'll continue to read them out. $5 from another new account to say, if you didn't call for General Milley to be fired, General Milley to be fired after 13 died in Afghanistan, plus the treasonous behavior, that I don't want to hear about Hegseth. Thank you for the $5. $5 more from Deej Nuts to say, fire everyone, smiley face. $5 additional from Deej Nuts to say, Signal has no RBAC or chain of custody controls. Classified intel should never be shared in it. $5 from Majin. I love you, brother. Also, yo, Gibbs, I thought you said you was going to hand out the whoopins to Wick, but I don't see that, Hashtag
Well,
shook ones.
Well, Wick is moderating.
$5
No
from
whoopin' for Wick.
Often Topical. If a
I
Signal
don't
chat
feel
on
very
a
Wick.
personal device is so secure, why even have skiffs in the first place? Be serious. $5 from
question-
Caleb. Should our tax dollars be spent on a makeup studio in the Pentagon? Yes or no answer.
I've been waiting for that one.
But we'll get to it.
I don't know anything about that, so
$5.
We're good faith. We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah, $5 from Deej Nuts to say Signal's encryption is fine for government use. The problem is in configuring who has or doesn't have access to a chat. $5 from Caleb. Yes or no? Is it against SCIF policy to use personal devices to transmit classified information over commercial messaging app? Question mark. And then $5 more from Caleb. Do the CISA guidelines provide best practices for officials transmitting classified material? Hint, they don't. Thank you for the $5. Okay, with that, Go to Grid.
I got a question.
Grid.
Though.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Alex, I guess. Alex, if you have a question, go ahead.
go ahead, Grid. You go first, man.
Oh man, I'm cool. Go ahead. I
Okay.
was listening to the super chats.
So Gibbs, you said that John Radcliffe said that they took part in like sharing classified information on Signal. Because
That's correct.
I'm looking at it. Says, to be clear, I haven't participated in any Signal group messaging that relates to any classified information. Radcliffe said, and down below it says Radcliffe claimed that soon after he became the CIA director, Signal was downloaded on his computer at the agency and was briefed on how to use Signal for work. He said the CIA's use of the app preceded the Trump administration, was used during the Biden administration. It says nothing about disclosing or
that's
sharing.
Interesting because you're
Use
skipping.
for what?
He's skipping two major sentences there. Why don't you read the
I'm
sentences
not.
you're skipping?
No,
Because this is what he says. Was Signal was loaded on my computer at CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that's briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records manager folks about the use of Signal as permissible for work use. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the CIA, but guess what? It is
Did it
for
say anything classified
That doesn't
material?
mean classified, top secret, or secret. That doesn't mean that.
Because you have to.
I already
You have to understand-
read the part where you talked about classified information.
No. I just read something.
Not
completely
everything the CIA
contradicted
does
you.
is classified.
I read something that's completely contradicted your statement.
Sure.
I mean,
no, you didn't. You read the second part of the same statement I made, and the second part I also
I'm not
confirmed
seeing
what I
that.
said in the first part.
Can someone
just
link
read
me
those
what you're
things.
reading, please, so I can read it?
Here's a
Just-
Fox News article. There's about
please just,
15.
Fox News. There we go.
Great.
Yeah.
Fox News is my favorite source.
Well, I mean, they're just quoting him. They're
Hey,
reliable
you guys are
sources.
going with NPR on this reporting, so I mean,
Are they?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
here's
I mean,
Texas
NPR
Tribune
is
right
so
here.
much better, you know.
But keep going while I check this.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't really watch mainstream media outlets to begin with. I mean, it's just because I don't trust any of it nowadays. So I go with independent media. Does. So, but like, the thing is, like, when I'm looking at this, it didn't say anything about him transmitting any classified material over Signal. Now, here's the thing: if they actually had, because most secret computer stuff like that, they have their own means of communication, classified material. So why the fuck would they use Signal for transmit classified material? I don't understand.
are you asking anyone in particular? Or?
It doesn't matter. Just anybody in the group. That's up for anybody.
I think the fact that Signal more can be set, it is not always set. My understanding, again, I don't have Signal. I've never needed it, but my understanding is that once the communique is over, it erases it and cannot be retrieved ever. Like even Signal themselves can't do it.
Well, my question right now here is, like, when we talk about the CIA or this other, or the other administration or other groups using this, we don't talk about like what they're using it for, as well as what devices they're using on. Because if it's only on their computers that are part of the CIA's computer network, then that's different than if we're putting it on personal phones and using personal accounts that we're setting up with random fucking emails, as opposed to what we're using literally through the government. That's another thing with the fucking security thing. It's not a requirement that these people are using government emails to sign up for Signal. They could use their fucking Gmail for all we know, which can easily be hacked and then used to reset passwords. Like, honestly.
I don't know about the. I don't know about that. That's a little bit. I hope you're being a little bit tongue in cheek there. The reason people like the CIA use Signal is because they're spies, and they don't ever want a record. And what they do is typically above classified, or at least in their eyes, it's above classified because they don't ever want that shit coming out.
On what devices are they using this?
Spies. What are you talking about? They're
On what devices and with what emails?
Burner phones, for all I know. What are you talking about? I mean, they're not using like super cool phones that they get coming. What? I mean, seriously, what
Holy
world
shit.
do you live in?
No, if you're accessing that sort of information, you do have government phones, and you have to have your whatever chats through your government email and your secure fucking shit. Like, you can't just, like, let's say I have my iPhone and I'm going to use my Gmail to sign up for fucking Signal, and like, Pete Hegseth, this fucking dude, whatever Walls, is adding me to a chat. That's different.
I would like to know something. Okay, so I talked about like how General Kurilla used a secured phone that had secret classified transmission capabilities. Why didn't you just use Signal if you guys are so sure it's so secure?
Why wouldn't I?
No, why didn't he? Why didn't he use it to transmit if it's so secure?
I don't guess the motivations of people I don't know.
Because he knows you're not supposed to use stuff like that. He knows that you're supposed to transmit information like that over secret or top secret servers. It's that simple. Like, and this is why you don't transmit this stuff.
You keep
over
saying servers, but I don't think that we're not talking about servers here. We're talking about cell phones. Cell phones are not servers.
They
We're not
Oh my
they're not doing
gosh.
this from a laptop. You know, they're using a
A
cell.
laptop is a server now.
I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek and facetious,
Well-
maybe even a little hyperbolic, because
Yeah,
they're not
really.
literally sitting at a desk, and we're not in
Well-
we're not in the.
Well, can I ask a question? Maybe just like maybe
Oh.
broaden.
Yeah,
it
go
real quick.
ahead, man. I'm being
Let's just okay. So say we have an established, what was it? Skiffs? Is that the established one? Say we have a skiffs. And say for whatever, let's just say hypothetically, this pure thought exercise. Let's just say but we're gonna call it, I don't know, Gibbs app comes along. And my app is just the world's best peer-to-peer encryption. It's uncrackable. Nobody can get it into it. No way. It's like good for record keeping with the government guidelines, but it's also secure. And the only weak link is the people. So like, how is that if the government decides we're going to use that any different than say, I don't know, someone letting a skiff's device fall into the wrong hands if they were,
hold on.
captured. If
But,
they
it's
captured my
not
personal
just
phone.
the
People
people.
throwing around words here like they know what they mean.
I'm just asking, like, how is that
It's not
any
just the
different?
people.
I understand. A skiff is a room that's electronically sealed and cannot be eavesdropped on. It is not a computer. It is not a telephone. It's not something you're going to do a group call on, because
There are
the
computers
other
sometimes
person has
behind
to be
skiffs,
in
yes.
one. Secure, compartmentalized. Those two
Yes.
words together mean something. So quit talking about skiffs. We're not talking about skiffs. We're talking about a group phone call.
Okay, so
That's the problem. You understand? That's the problem.
You
They
can't
were in
have
a
a
group
meeting
chat
like-
that was
like-
unsecure, and they transferred secure information over that.
and when we talk about what
Miss-
Gibbs said, right? When he talks about how the only weak link is the people because external hackers can't easily hack into it, that's not the problem, right? The weakness is at the device level and at the email used to sign up for it level. That's the problem. It's not just the
No,
people.
it's
There is
not.
more weaknesses.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. First of all, a skiff is literally secure, compartmentalized. It's a room.
I was
You
talking
have
about
to be in
Signal.
another one. It's not a computer. It has nothing to do with your email. No signals go in or out except the signals from one terminal to another. That's how that works. I can't believe you came this unprepared to discuss it and keep throwing around the term skiff, which you obviously don't understand what it means. And what we are talking about is a group chat or call or whatever that was probably not supposed to really contain the classified information, which, by the way, does not have to be sent in a skiff, as far as I'm aware. Now, maybe there's some different standards. I don't know. I'm not on the staff. I don't know what their internal security looks like. I don't really care either. The point is that the staffer set this up. The staffer, who obviously had worked there, should have known the proper procedure if we're talking about the first instance. And I don't know why we're continuously talking about the first instance, because that's already been settled by Trump. The only thing I really care about is this latest
Post
instance.
talk.
That's the only
My
thing that
favorite.
I'm concerned about, is the latest instance where he's being accused, maybe falsely, of having done it again, which we don't know about.
This is just reifying the idea that you could do whatever you want, and as long as you fucking sucks Trump dick enough, you can just have him like reify it post hoc. Because like
You
we're
should
talking about,
probably
well,
get
this
in
is
line.
settled.
Well,
I'm
I think
good, thank you.
the
I'm
reason-
not gonna knock the
Well, here-
concept of sucking dicks, but Trump is last on the fucking list, bro.
Well,
no, thank you.
if I'm-
Next, okay.
When it comes down to it,
Everybody wants to be Liliana or whatever her name is. Everybody wants to be her. Don't lie.
no,
He's a
we don't
giga Chad.
actually. Okay, whatever. So going back into this, like,
We are
when it
not.
comes
That is
down-
not the topic. The sex life of Donald Trump is
It
not
really
what we're
isn't.
discussing today. Let's keep going.
It really isn't. But anyway, as I was saying, when it comes down to it, the reason why, if this didn't happen,
Maybe it should be.
First, well, I don't give a shit. So at this point, when it comes down to it, if I would like to see Pete Hegseth actually testify under penalty of perjury and to disclose whether he did or did not disclose this to his wife, to his attorney, because if he did, that makes it even completely fucking worse. And guess who else needs to be involved?
Wait. To his attorney is a
Disclose
problem?
what?
Yeah.
His
Shopping
Yes.
list?
Oh, his
Yes.
attorney is a problem.
Yeah. Does he have top secret clearance? Does he have classified clearance?
No, the lawyers have something even better. It's called lawyer confidentiality.
That has
You know
So
what I mean?
that's not
That's
better
better.
than
It's
top
better.
secret clearance.
You
I
can't
used to-
you can't even subpoena them to break that. Like what? Like they can listen. They don't have to tell nobody nothing. You can listen. We've had people literally represent the most reprehensible people on earth, and they've straight up told them, "I killed 600 people," and they have to go there with a straight face and say not guilty. Give me a goddamn break. We're gonna go after the fucking lawyer? Come on. Do you hear how
Yes.
insane you sound? Like that's how the lawyer. That's the guy we can't trust. Like if the lawyer
good?
breaks that and tells people, then not only will he be disbarred, like he's going to lose his business, he's going to be able to be open up for a litany of lawsuits. Like it's just a never-ending like clusterfuck. Yes, absolutely.
No,
Clusterfuck.
absolutely not.
Listen, well, clearly you don't know anything about the
Gibby.
law, so I
Wrong.
think let's just like here's
Gibby,
the breakdown.
what the fuck do you
Here's
know
the
We
about
know
law?
that
breakdown.
national security is
here's
a
the
bug.
thing.
No. You gotta
Here's
understand.
the thing.
Gibby,
Here's the thing.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah, I'm
Go
literally
ahead.
at the end here.
Because I-
I'm
Let
landing
Gibbs.
it.
You can
Here's
respond
the
after he's
thing.
done. Gibbs,
Yeah,
finish up, and then I'll let.
I'm literally there. Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, whenever y'all say go after the lawyer, it's just ludicrous because the lawyer has an even higher standard than even the defense department does. So y'all are just sitting here throwing like I don't know, paint at a wall or spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. That's all you do in here.
up.
It's just crying
Hold your horses.
for the sake of crying. It's tedious.
If attorney-client confidentiality can be breached, or this has been determined for the purposes of national security, then how the fuck does it trump national security reasons and involving our top secret clearance? How's that?
Wait, say that
I'm
again.
sorry, I didn't understand that word salad. Can you repeat
Yes.
that?
Say that again.
Okay, thank you for that. We really appreciate the way you're saying that. But anyways,
say that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just say it again.
right. If attorney-client privilege can be breached for the sake of national security, which I mean it definitely can, that's been determined, along with it being broken for cases in which somebody is in imminent danger, then why are we saying that attorney-client privilege is above the DoD's requirements for classified top secret, blah blah
So
blah?
I'll answer that. It's pretty easy, actually. First of all, in this scenario that we've all described, right? Let's just say he straight up told the attorney the exact plan, like down to the millisecond, what's going to happen with these bombings, right?
Okay.
Now, in the scenario you just laid out, the attorney could break client privilege for, someone's about to get hurt. And that applies not to our enemies.
Not to
Not to the Houthis. That it's not going to apply to them. And you said for national security, well, it would only become a national security problem if the attorney revealed it. So that really eliminates both of these issues.
But
I'm not saying the
hold
attorney
on.
was
Hold
going to
on,
reveal
stop,
it. I'm
stop.
saying that doesn't change that the attorney-client privilege is below
Okay.
national security fucking standards.
I'll go after you, Wick.
Yeah, just real quick. You understand that if I was a general and I decided to break security clearance and tell some rando on the street or call up a journalist, as long as that person doesn't also tell anyone else, then we're okay. But the problem is, the reason that's not the standard which we judge these things by, is because when you take this information and you put it out in a way that is unsecure, which again is what happened here, it increases the risk that something bad will happen and that information will get to people who we do not want it to be with. That's the problem. It is, again, and I want to repeat this, had I done what Hegseth did, I would have lost a stripe, lost my clearance, and I would likely be facing some jail time or at least some charges. That's the issue at hand.
Would you have Wick like this? Let me
Yes.
ask this. Actually, hold on, Wick. Let me ask this. Actually, let's just make this clear. Say you were in like some kind of a group chat, right? Like, well, let's just say same thing. Say, all right, you're in a group chat, and somebody way down the line, say you're a general, way down the line, added another person into this group chat, and you revealed information trusting the colonels and the majors and all the people underneath you to have done their job, and yet somehow Gibbs the reporter was added this chat, would you still lose your stripe?
Yes. Here's the
No.
deal. If
No,
I
you
wouldn't.
again, first of all, generals don't have stripes; they have stars.
Exactly.
They
Sure,
are
stars,
officers.
whatever. I'm
They're
not
not
a-
enlisted.
We'll lose
Enlisted
something.
Air Force members are the
You
ones.
know
who have
what I
stripes.
mean.
I understand what you mean, but I just wanted to correct the record on that just briefly. But it's neither here nor there. Again, if I was Wick when I was in the Air Force, and I happened to be in Qatar, and I knew that in a couple hours, right, we were going to send some planes to bomb to drop some warheads on some foreheads, okay, right? And I had been in a Twitter group chat, and I decided to tell my Twitter group chat, hey, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to fly out, and I'm going to send these fighter jets, and we're going to bomb the target here. And someone found out I had said that, that would be my ass. I would be in jail.
All right, so I really got to jump in on this. Okay, so Gibbs, you got to understand something though. Do you think that during this text chat, essentially, that he was being paid for his time being a lawyer at that point? Was this like a friendly chat? Was this an official chat?
As somebody with experience in
gotcha.
law firms, I would say that he
I
was
didn't ask
probably
about your
already on.
experience.
Oh, cool. I'm answering your question. As I would say
But you're
that
not.
he. Yeah. Well, if you would let me finish, I will answer your question. He was probably on retainer. Would be my expectation.
Okay,
So
so
that
you're being
means
okay,
he was on file. Yeah, he would be his attorney at all times.
yeah, probably not. But anyway, as I was saying,
Well, that's
even if
literally
you
how it works.
okay, fine, whatever. So at this point,
That
then
doesn't give him security clearance.
it doesn't give him security clearance. He doesn't have this clearance to receive this information.
But
He
it
doesn't
makes
have the
his
clearance.
client. Pete Hegseth his client.
Wait, so
As I
even
was
if you don't have somebody on retainer at all times, you still can't violate attorney-client privilege.
Does the attorney have a top secret clearance?
How do we,
I would
we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, I don't know that
He
information.
doesn't.
How do you
I'm
know?
willing to bet
Do you know that?
I'm willing to bet he doesn't have that clearance.
I mean,
Uh,
I would
that's
be willing to
fine.
bet you.
That-
I would be willing to bet
that-
you're
that-
correct, but we don't know that.
Okay, so you want
Well,
let's just
you
go,
ought to come out with it.
Who gets to hand out those top secret
the
clearances?
government.
What if I have top secret clearance? You don't know
Department
that?
You mean the
good
Secretary of
point.
Defense?
Okay, so has Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth given him a security clearance?
How does he do that? He says
No,
he walks
I
in his
asked, did he give
office
it
and
to
he says, person at the desk of my receptionist, please get this guy a top secret clearance.
That's not how that
or
works,
else-"
though. That's not
No.
at all how that works. That's
I'm
actually
being
kind of
hyperbolic. Come on,
well.
you know that.
Okay, fine. You're being hyperbolic, but the thing is, though,
Well, actually,
is
I'm
that
being
like,
facetious, but close enough.
but anyway, as I was saying, though, if we don't know if this guy had the
You
clearance, or
don't
not, that's
know
already
anything. You're guessing. We don't know that his wife doesn't have top secret clearance. I don't even know who his wife is. I don't know her name. I don't know anything about her. We don't
she's
know.
wife number 3.
Okay.
And his
know.
brother and what?
We don't
So
know
The
that
wife-
the
We're
attorney
bashing
doesn't have top
divorcees
secret
now, I
clearance.
guess. God damn, bro. That's
Wait,
terrible.
so
I don't
he
know
I
that-
love the family
he
values.
never held a military
All of
role,
this
and
is
so did she.
supposition.
But like somehow
no
they both
proof
have top
of
security
anything.
clearance.
This is literally the ultimate whataboutism, and you're engaging with it like a bulldog. Because we know nothing. There's
This
no
is
proof of
whataboutism from the What About Biden squad? What?
Nah.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
it's hilarious.
Oh,
Hilarious.
yeah.
I like it. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Let's
Go ahead, Wick.
let's move a little forward, I guess. And let's talk about how Hegseth is doing overall. There have been reports, and you can believe them or not, but that the Department of Defense currently is in a state of disarray. There have been multiple firings of leakers.
Mhm.
There have been multiple
Mhm.
incidences of miscommunications and people not being able to properly do their jobs. How much responsibility does Hegseth have for the state of the Department of Defense currently? And even just on that level, does the Trump administration not at least do itself a favor by looking for possible replacements? I'm going to let Greg go first. Then once Gibbs gets back, we'll let him sound off
I can
on
hear
this
you.
and
Go ahead.
we'll keep going.
Yeah. So I think Hegseth is doing exactly what Trump told him to do, and that is to clean house at the DoD. And I think that's why you have all of these disgruntled former employees, literally disgruntled former employees, coming out left and right saying, "Oh, Hegseth did this, he did that. Oh, we're all in disarray." Yeah, you are in disarray because he's ending all the DEI initiatives that Biden put in place. He's cutting out all of as much of the cancer as he can, as quickly as he can in the DoD. And one of the real problems that we have with the DoD and the Pentagon is we have more generals than ever. Any point in history, we have more of them. And they all have to have somewhere to, they all have to be somewhere, and they're all very much political animals at this point. And it's crazy how many we have that need to go somewhere else. They need to retire. They need to find something else to do. And
True, one of them's name is Peter Hegseth. Okay, okay.
Well, Hegseth wasn't a general, so maybe you should do more research. I don't know.
Well,
but at
You
any
said
rate,
people before that.
At any rate, I think Hegseth's doing exactly what Trump wants him to do. Trump literally put him in place to clean house at the DoD and Pentagon, and that's yet another reason they hate him. They hate him because he's not a general, and he wasn't real military because he was a National Guard guy, and they hate him because he's there to clean house. So it's 3 strikes for him with the staff at the DoD and the Pentagon, but I like it. And I think it's what's needed, to be honest. So, but I don't know. Gibbs, go ahead. I'm sorry I talked too long.
Well, I mean, if you just, I'll go pretty quick. I mean, yeah, I echo a lot of what Grid said. He's definitely coming in as an outsider. Like when I voted for Trump, I voted for 2 things. I wanted the border secured. I wanted my immigration because of what's happening with my ranch. And I voted for, I want fucking some efficiency. I want some fucking shit going down. The government's gotten bloated, yada yada. And I want my taxes lower. I want all this, my money, right? I want to see money being spent right. I'm tired of money being wasted. And so what I've seen so far from the Trump administration as a whole is he's tried to accomplish. Now, whether you like what he said he's done, he's at least tried to fulfill the promises he's made. Now, whether you like how he's accomplished that, that's a whole different debate. With Hegseth, I see the epitome of that, right? He's come in. He's already taken recommendations from Doge. He's fired those people. He's gutted people, like y'all mentioned, leakers. Well, y'all have a problem with classified documents and classified stuff being fired. Guess what? I would probably want those people fired too if they're leakers. But, and like, hey, if they're not on board with the new vision of the administration, it's time to fire them. So I'm fans of all these things. He pushed, like, hey, some of this other stuff, like the transgender surgeries for the military. I don't know why we're funding that shit. Hold on. I know it's not a huge portion of it, but it's one of the things that he's pushed to try to get rid of. The courts are holding them up. He's pushed other people out, and same thing. It looks like he was the one that was the deal maker with Panama, and it looks like he accomplished his goals. So I see more good coming from Hegseth than I see bad. And whenever our arguments for bad, these are the 3 arguments to fire him: are Signal Chat 1, which he didn't even add the guy; Signal Chat 2, which is alleged from, guess like Grid just said, a disgruntled former employee, John Hoyot or whatever his name is; and then 3. The other complaint is now, and this is a really stupid one, and I even hate to bring it up, but this stupid makeup artist facility that they put at the Pentagon. Say he did spend $40K on a makeup facility at the Pentagon. I don't really give a shit if he did do that. They all got to give press conference all the time. It seems like something, but it seems like that's not even true, based off what new reports are coming out. That's
what he said
in opposition to what CBS said. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff coming out. I don't know.
I mean, I don't care about his makeup. He can have as much makeup as he wants. He can look like fucking Trixie Mattel for all I care. Okay, like good for him.
I was going more for Jeffree Star, but go ahead.
Oh,
just some breaking news actually, and this is reported in the Associated Press, and I just looked this up. I was just made aware of this. This was reported just before we started the show. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had an internet connection that bypasses Pentagon security protocols set up in his office to use the Signal messaging app on a personal computer. That's according to 2 people familiar with the line who spoke to the Associated Press. It's known as a dirty internet line by the IT industry. It connects directly to the public internet, where the user's information and the website's access don't have the same security filters or protocols that the Pentagon's secured connections maintain. And the chief Pentagon spokesman said Hegseth has never used and does not currently use Signal on his government computer. Okay. At this point, is it not just like a pattern of behavior of just mishandling classified information just
secret
all the time?
Well, hold on, Wick. I hate to be this guy, right? But the AP, they're a reputable source, right? I know somebody bitched about NPR and someone bitched about Fox News earlier. I'm not going to bitch about that. But this also it's interesting that it says 2 people familiar with the line. because I'm looking at the article now, doesn't list their names. They're anonymous sources. They could be disgruntled employees. Like, what does this really mean? Like, is this even true? Like, I want more information before I'm going to act on this because
What would you need to know to believe it to be true? Like,
I
what
would like-
information would you need?
Yeah, sure.
It's not going to matter.
Well,
It
I'm
ain't
not
gonna
even
matter.
saying. I'm not even sure it's not true. I'm just saying I would like to see at least names attached to people claiming it and what their positions were that could prove that they had access to this. That would be
Yeah.
what I would like to see. And then after that, we can assess whether or not this is actually a bad thing. Would be my take. Because I would argue kind of in the same court as Grid. It seems like Signal seems to be almost more secure than the shit they've been using previously, based on all the information that I'm getting. And y'all, because the complaint seems to be personal devices or the people themselves. So like, I'm not even sure it is actually a bad thing that it is unsecure. Now, an unsecured internet connection,
You heard it here
is a
first.
problem.
Signal's more secure than secret and top secret clearances. You heard it here from
Oh,
Admiral
great.
Gibbs.
Not what I said. I said the
That's
devices
exactly what you
and
fucking
the
said.
apps and the apps.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Clearances is different than. Hold on.
Yeah,
A
that-
clearance-
That's my
doesn't make
fucking
sense.
point.
A clearance is a level that you have to get to be able to look up data. Signals
shit.
have to use the send data. You understand the difference, right?
Yeah, that's been my entire point this entire time. You just conceded the whole thing then.
What?
No, he didn't concede anything. He
I
literally
didn't concede
said
anything.
Signal
You
is
just
more
conceded
secure.
your entire.
Signal is in fact more secure. All you have to do is just not fuck up and hand out shit the wrong way. But
Yeah, that would
Anyway,
be-
I-
follow along. Follow logic.
No, actually, whatever. Okay, so when it comes down to like how Pete Hegseth is doing, okay, let's just say that he only got the position by the skin of his teeth simply because JD Vance had to come and bail his ass out. He's probably the most unqualified Secretary of Defense that we've ever had. I actually miss General Mattis. He never would have allowed this to happen. He was actually way more
Yeah.
qualified. He actually cared more about like the war fighters, something like that. He just didn't talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that Pete Hegseth is essentially just, out there just promoting his brand. He's basically talking about how awesome he is. He's talking about how we're out there fighting for the warfighters, and he's talking about all these anonymous leakers. He said the same exact thing during his confirmation hearing, but yet he has no proof to back up any of his arguments whatsoever. And all these people that he's talking about, disgruntled employees, he brought these guys in. They are his close associates. All of them are saying, no, I've known this guy for years. We are literally close friends with him, and he just ghosted us right out of the blue, essentially. They've all been talking about this. One of them even talked on Tucker Carlson, who's like Putin's love child, basically.
that's
like
an interesting
yes,
point.
But
We'll
anyways,
talk about
as I was
that
saying,
in just a second.
yeah, we'll talk about it in just a second, though. But all these guys are very close associates with Pete Hegseth, but now he's just dismissing them. It's just the same thing that Trump does with people. He says, I barely knew these guys. I don't know who these people are, basically. Just completely dismissing them without, essentially, when they start turning against him. Even these guys that are actually turning against him, they're saying Donald Trump deserves better than Pete Hegseth because everything is in complete chaos, everything is in complete disarray, and it's not because he wasn't a general, it's because he's completely unqualified. The guy has never actually served in a real command level position, not that you really need to, but he's never served in a strategic or organizational command level position, let alone that there are some people that I felt were Secretary of Defense that I felt like didn't need to be there, like Leon Panetta, but he was able to get in with like 100 votes to none, essentially. But some of these guys that were Secretary of Defense actually had some level of experience that Pete Hegseth does not have. Every organization he's been a part of, he got kicked out of it because of mismanagement of funds. And now we're going to give him the most powerful budget that the country ever has. And everyone's talking about how he's going to downsize the military and get rid of the gut funding. They're about to approve possibly $1 trillion for the first time. And everybody that does research on this knows the majority of funding that goes towards
Mute
the military
yourself.
industrial complex.
Has Signal ever been hacked? Has ever
So
So
been
that's not the problem. We've talked
not the
about this
problem.
700 times.
So it's reliable. Well, because you just said clearances
If you
and
can,
the encryption is the same thing, right? Like that's what you were just saying that I said. So in this case, if that's the same thing, if Signal's never been hacked, then that makes it almost that would be the standard then, shouldn't it? That's the gold standard. If it's never
It doesn't
been hacked.
matter. It doesn't matter.
No,
if it's
because
all
it's not all
hacked.
about hacking.
But has
It's about other
anybody
points of entry,
has anybody
my
that's not
friends,
hold
my
on?
love.
So is anybody not supposed to get top secret
You're
documents? gotten
floundering
them
right now,
before?
Gibby.
No,
You're floundering.
hold on. Has anybody ever gotten top secret documents that they weren't supposed to before? Have they ever been able to access it? Oh, they have. They have, right?
What happens
So-
Right,
when
but
they do?
here's my
happens
question.
to them? Yeah,
You're
that's a good question.
making
What happens?
What happens to the people who gave them that info?
Well, it depends. My point is this: the point is the weak link is the people, right? And so if the people, like,
No,
I
it's
have
not
a
just-
spy, and I go in there and they somehow steal some documents because they bamboozled this as a spy, right? Okay, that means that's even less secure than the peer-to-peer encryption of the Signal thing. Which, so in my mind, Signal's not even that bad.
Okay.
Again, we
hold
said
on,
it's not just the people.
Just real
Okay.
quick. Grid wanted to go, and then I got more super chats to read, so I'm gonna let Grid go. He said he wanted to jump in on something, and I'm gonna let him have that chance.
Yeah,
to read these super
I
chats.
appreciate that. So the thing about the relative of Tucker Carlson, you only did half of the story. So the person that Hegseth fired is related some way to Tucker Carlson. And he was fired for leaking information to the press. That's an important thing that you left out. And literally the day he's fired, he's on Tucker Carlson. And talking about how weird it was that he got fired for leaking things to the press. Do you think maybe even if he didn't actually do it, I would not want someone related to a reporter in that position, right? And I don't believe at all that this is a longtime friend of Peter Hegseth, right? Like I just don't believe that.
So he gets
can you show me where that can you put it in the back jacket or something where that's like a longtime friend of Peter Hegseth and all of a sudden he ghosted him and fired him for leaking stuff to the press when he was most likely leaking stuff to the press, which is specifically something that Hegseth is trying to eliminate.
So he says,
Right.
but here's my question though. I just want to ask you this question. Okay, so that guy can get fired for getting leaked. I can agree to that, but not Pete Hegseth. Why is that?
Because Pete Hegseth isn't intentionally leaking anything. Literally, a staffer made a mistake. You keep holding its feet to the fire for that. And that's fine. Cool. Whatever.
Define leaking, because I think for top secret shit, leaking is showing it to people without security clearance.
Going to the press and handing them information when you're not supposed to do that. And then when you get fired for it, going on Tucker Carlson and whining for an hour and a half about what good friends that you thought you were, and oh my God, he fired me over it. That seems like a bad argument to me. I don't know. Can you make it a good argument for me?
This is so outside of the pale of what we're supposed to be talking about, kind of like, I don't care if those two had a fucking extramarital affair. Like, what do we give a shit? Like, the problem is not what he said on Fox News or what he said after that to Tucker Carlson, on Fox News, obviously, what he said to Tucker Carlson. It's not about that. It's the fact that he was showing these things to people who don't have security clearance. It's about that he's using an app that does have these sort of, issues with, not necessarily hacking into it, which we try to wheel around to that every time. But it's about, obviously, like, people are going to be a weakness no matter what. But with this,
doesn't make things true. Okay.
Huh?
It's not true that Hegseth intentionally leaked anything. A staffer put the wrong person in
his wife and the attorney and the brother and whoever the fuck else is in there.
You don't know that happened. You have
maybe there's a problem with fucking
NPR
Signal.
that said it. Hegseth came out and said, "Yeah, I texted my wife, but it was not classified material."
Okay.
Again,
we can say this all day, but here's another problem that we're talking about.
Hold on, stop. If you're going to continue to say that, know what was said that is classified information shouldn't be put out there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. Okay, then. Well, we don't know. Even in that situation, that we don't know hypothetically. Like, the problem is, so that that's great. So we're arguing here that going back to your original argument, that because Pete is mad that other people can read his chats, he should be able to use a less secure method because he's salty, and the less secure method is one in which he would have no accountability for the things he does, because we don't know, and they might be putting service members in danger. I mean, if this was not allowed or whatever the fuck, that seems like incompetence to me. That seems like somebody who doesn't belong in that position because he's putting people in danger and he's trying to hide shit.
It out twin Michael Phelps. So there's no way that you can believe all the things that you just said. Literally.
No, I was talking about your positions that you've said during this debate.
I didn't. My position is that
your position was that he was upset and he didn't want people to look at his fucking chat. You said these words.
I didn't say he was upset. I said he just doesn't want people. The Defense Department, the people around him,
want people to read his emails. He's clearly upset about them being able to do it. That's literally
I don't think Hegseth gives a fuck whether they're mad or not.
He would be upset if they were able to. That's what I said.
Okay. I'm going to read some super chats. I'm gonna read some super chats.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then
Chat
we'll
away.
reset a little bit.
I'm
Okay.
gonna take a piss. How long are you gonna
$5
read
from
Super-
Testicle Johnson. What is more secure, Signal or a private email server? The answer: Signal. If Hegseth should resign, then Hillary should have as well. Democrat
She didn't win the
hypocrisy.
election.
Thank you for the $5. $2 more from Testicle Johnson. Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi. Mushroom. Thank you for the $2.
Don't worry, by
$20.
y'all standards, if she won the election, it would all be okay.
$20 from Alexander Wren. I am left in awe every time I see Gibbs talk about technical stuff like this. The concept that an attorney can be privileged to hear top secret clearance because of their ethical responsibility is a joke. Thank you for the $20. $5 from Caleb. Breaking from Associated Press. And Hegseth had an internet connection installed that bypassed Pentagon security protocols so that he could use Signal in his office. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for the tip. $10 from Artemis Fowl. So the people claiming that the lawyer doesn't have a security clearance with no evidence, when the likely answer is he is a DOD lawyer, not his personal one. Only concern is his
Okay, Mr.
wife,
Maglock.
if true at all. Thank you for the $10, Artemis Fowl. $10 more from Artemis Fowl. Idiots think NipperNet is an unsecure line to the internet. A lot of people telling on themselves and here having no military background. There's no SIPR Signal app. Thank you for the $10. And then finally, well, almost finally, $10 from Alexander Wren. Can we get a firm response from the MAGAs of if they would condemn Hegseth if the second internet line used to bypass Pentagon security is real? Question mark. And then finally, Artemis Fowl, $5. Accusations are proof? Question mark. The accusations lay out a pattern of behavior? Question mark. Is it the pattern of the accusations proof that the accusations are true? Question mark. Okay, and here we are.
I am Ron Burgundy.
Well, that is a
Yeah, I know.
is a question that I do want to ask.
Whale's vagina.
Let's assume this report from
Sorry?
Associated Press is true, and he did have the second line
thank you, man.
installed to
Thank you, man.
bypass the security protocols of the Pentagon. Is that something you think that he should face repercussion for?
I'll answer.
Go
No.
ahead.
I mean, okay. This is gonna sound like a cop out. Fuck it. I'll just take. I'll accept the hate. Maybe. Right. I'm gonna say on my first initial reaction, I want to say no, because it seems to me like Signal actually is secure, and the problem is with the people, right? And then the argument is, oh well, maybe you can have a cookie or something put on the computer or some kind of malware that's going to be able to track the data after you download it from unsecure PC. I see that argument, and if that's the case, maybe. However, it does seem to me, and this is going to be where the whataboutism comes in. Someone brought up Benghazi. We didn't try Hillary for anybody's deaths that happened in Benghazi, and we had soldiers and what was it? A fucking ambassador die at Benghazi, and so I just am sitting here. I think it's rich when we haven't had anybody die because of this, and that we're gonna not prosecute.
My brain
That we're gonna
cells have
prosecute
died.
Hegseth when Hillary's sitting at home going on a fucking book tour publicity circuit. It's laughable, and it's the most partisan shit I've ever heard.
Do you think that we should have the investigations for Hegseth like we did with Hillary?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? I mean, I don't have a problem with
Put him
investigations.
to testify for 12 fucking hours. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
we
I
had
don't have a problem with
investigations-
investigations. Like, that's not something I have a problem with.
We had
say
investigations for
about the
4
investigation.
years. We had investigations on 4 years on Benghazi, and they even had the biggest pit bull, biggest prosecutor that's ever existed, Trey Gowdy, investigate, and they turned up diddly squat. So Benghazi has been tried and has been discussed. Even the families of Benghazi says, please stop dragging our families out in the limelight like this. Let them rest in peace. But, they just can't let it go. They just can't let Benghazi go, and they're never going to shut up. Not that they really care about
Wait,
the people. That
why?
died.
And this
why
time,
do
after
people
the
not let
first,
Benghazi
after
go?
the first issue, after the first leak, we had literally everybody who could have, been declaring an investigation. We had Pam Bondi, we had fucking Hegseth, we had Trump, we had this, that, and the third, all saying, "Oh, there's nothing to see here. There's no need for an investigation." I mean, if you're all for investigations, isn't it suspicious? Isn't it weird that these people are trying to fucking dodge any investigation or say that investigation is not necessary? Why is that?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Hegseth,
Well,
what?
they're
There was
so
an
against
investigation
having
on
an
Hegseth.
investigation. Why is that? Why?
There
I thought
was
we
an
wanted
investigation
investigation.
on Hegseth after the first one. That's why they fired the staffer. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I mean, I think that's a good point. They found who did it, they fired him. That seems like the
What do
buck
you- I
stops
mean-
here. You're done.
That
Like that's
wasn't
what's
entirely
going
what I mean
I
by
will say
this.
that since I was asked, if it's true that he has an outside line, then first of all, it would be weird that it matters because he's the defense secretary. He can do what he want in the building. It's not like he's the janitor. You guys keep acting like he's a third level employee. He is the guy. If he wants a line and he says, "I want a fucking line right here," he gets a line.
I did that job because he doesn't give a fuck about security. He doesn't give a fuck about service members. Yes, okay? Like,
Apparently
there's
he
a
does
different
give a shit
thing.
about security because he keeps improving his security. He doesn't want to go through the internal servers because he knows the DoD reads his email. He
What's he
may be
hiding?
reporting directly to Trump.
What
What's
is
he
he
hiding?
hiding then?
What is he hiding?
well, hold on. You can't have it both
Doesn't
ways.
matter what he's hiring. It's
Hold
his
on, hold
fucking
on,
job.
hold on. Hold on. This is kind of
Okay, so he's the
interesting what
king
you're
of
doing.
the entire DoD?
I can do
Like,
whatever the
Hold
fuck
on,
I
hold
want.
on, hold on. You
I'm
can't
the
have.
I'm Pete Hegseth. I'm supported by Donald Trump. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Hold on,
dude.
hold on, hold on.
I want to hear y'all talk about accountability ever again. This is crazy. You're
I
acting
understand
like
you
we
don't-
should
hold
put
on,
in a
Hold
position
on,
where
hold
you
on,
don't
hold on,
want
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Everyone,
I'm
stop.
gonna take a piss. You guys better.
Okay. Well, before you go, Grid, just a quick question. Is it
I'll be
legal for a government employee to hide their emails from the Department of Defense?
Well,
Well, I have
that's
no idea because I'm not the
It's
defense
illegal.
secretary. But if I was the defense secretary, I'm pretty sure there'd be some latitude in what I did.
well.
So,
Hold.
I'll be right back.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, hold on, hold on, hold
Go
on.
see if you need. Yeah.
Can I answer this way? Because interesting, you say that, right? Because the part of the thing that I think we can all agree on about Signal, because laid out for the memo, and I posted the memo in the group chat, is that it has been approved across the board for record keeping, right? So that would include the email. So it meets the standard of record keeping for the emails. Now, this actually goes to Grid's point, though. If he's cleaning stuff out, he doesn't want people to know what he's cleaning. You can't simultaneously say it's not secure and, oh, hey, what is he hiding? And then simultaneously be like, oh, well, we hate that he's using it because it's unsecure. That's what are we doing here? It's either secure or it's
You're
not.
all over the place.
I've said this again and
You're like
fucking
means
again.
it's
It's
for
not
record
the
keeping.
same
Gyroscope.
type
You're
of
saying-
security.
I mean, I'm just
You're
following
saying
along.
all
It's
that-
pretty simple.
No, you're basically saying all that and basically saying nothing at the same time. Okay, when it comes down to the Signal
Okay,
app,
well, that's what you think
nothing.
you're wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% correct. Actually, I've been correct this whole fucking time. Actually, so
Okay.
you cannot disclose secret or classified material on Signal. I don't give a shit how secure it is. Do you know why? Because it doesn't say secret or classified on top of the Signal chat. He also didn't say, "Hey, this briefing is classified." So therefore, he's just basically out there saying willy-nilly, "Hey, this attack's about to take place. This is classified information," as I've said multiple fucking times. But the fact of the matter is, okay, so he puts in a separate line because he doesn't want people reading his emails. Why does he want people reading his emails? What exactly is he talking about? What emails is he talking about? If he's worried, is he worried about secret stuff being disclosed? Well, that's what you go to the SCIF for. To a secret, secure server where nobody's going to read this because it's classified information, essentially. When it comes down to talking about your actual emails, like day-to-day business stuff like that, hey, I got this individual report right now. This unit, the 10th Mountain Division right now is meaning low readiness as of right now and stuff like that.
How
Okay,
certain
go
are we?
Bend over
Right?
backwards.
Because I hear mixed reports, but I'm inclined to believe you. Right? When you say that it's very secure, I'm inclined to believe you on this. But how certain are we that Iran, China, Russia haven't already hacked it and simply not told us?
True.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm a tech expert. I'm sure someone wiser than me can probably give you this at a later date. However, from what I do understand about Signal is that it has never been hacked by anybody, as far as we know.
Because if I hacked it, I'll just tell you right now.
far as we
If
know,
I
it's
hacked
left
into
all the way.
someone's group
Sure.
chat, right, I wouldn't tell anyone.
but
I
mean,
would collect the info, and then when it was pertinent and I thought that it would be worth burning that connection, I would use that info. But I would gather a lot of intel before anyone knew.
Sure,
So
sure,
I would like.
sure. Wait, but well, they finish answering though, right? Like, for right now, from what I understand, peer-to-peer encryption, specifically Signal, and I think maybe there's one level above, which would be like quantum encryption or something, right? Like, or is basically the most secure forms of communication that we have at this point. Now, is there some give and take where, like, hey, another government might hack something and nobody in the world knows? Sure. I mean, it's the same risk as, oh, they might have a spy high up in our office and get it, in my opinion. And I
Hold
don't know
on.
how you guard
It's
against
not the
both of
same
those.
risk. There are
Yeah, it's probably the spy's probably worse.
there's much less of a risk of that, and there are different ways that we can follow protocol to keep that from happening than there are for this. One of the things that the military uses and other organizations use is they use protocol in order to mitigate risk as much as possible. And we mitigate this risk so that we don't have an accident where someone adds a reporter to a group chat. One of the ways that we mitigate this is by requiring only certain specified devices be used to transmit classified information and not our personal devices, because you can't accidentally add someone that's not supposed to, like, you can't accidentally add a reporter on your government phone because you don't add them to your government phone.
Yes.
I one thing I have to make abundantly clear is, like, does anybody else realize, like, how bad this situation is, that now our own allies don't even actually want to share information with us because they don't trust us anymore? I mean, that is
Who's our ally?
drastic. That is.
Yeah,
Huh?
which ally?
Which ally?
Oh, the ones you
Yeah.
don't care about for sure.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
I mean, we got some allies like the U. As of right now, from what I understand, I think the UK doesn't want to share information with us. I mean, hold on. a
So
second, let me
the
pull up.
UK
Cool.
that's like crashing their own boats into each other? Oh god, yeah, really so sad they don't want to share intel.
Are they not allies? Do you
I
not give a
mean,
shit about our allies?
I mean,
He doesn't. We know
Hold on,
this.
I like the sidebar, but let me. I gotta ask, because I was gone for a few minutes and I'm not sure if you guys covered it. So, you guys keep saying we want this and we want that. Who is the we part of that?
it's the royal we.
What do you mean? Well, I don't know. I don't understand your question.
Who decides what the security protocols are for the Pentagon?
Well, usually it's up to the it starts with, like, the president, the DNI, the Secretary of Defense. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's all up to Pete's Hegseth, obviously. That's the
Yeah.
argument to make.
Yeah, and Daddy Trump. Daddy Trump says it's cool, so Daddy Trump gets his way.
Is that a good thing? If Daddy
So are we
Trump
saying that
hold
there's
on,
no
if Daddy
accountability?
Trump said it was okay to, I don't know, beat your wife, would that be okay?
No, Wick, but
No, okay. If Daddy
Hold
Trump
on,
said it was okay
hold on. I
to,
won't entertain
if
with that.
Daddy Daddy Trump said it was okay to simply give all of
My
our intelligence
personal
over
life?
to Putin, would that be
In my personal
okay?
life, that would be kind of an encroachment in my personal life. But if there was a group wife, maybe that's within realm. I don't know. I've never had a
hold
group wife.
on. If you're saying,
never
like,
had a group
hold on.
wife. I
Let me
don't know what
engage
the
with Wick.
rules are.
Wick, so
I
you're
don't know what
arguing
the-
like
I
a
don't know what the-
Manchurian candidate scenario
No,
where,
I'm-
like,
I'm-
Trump is like going to give all the
reason I'm
info to
asking this
Russia.
question, sure, the reason I'm asking a question is because the argument seems to keep coming up is that if Trump says it's okay, then it's okay. And I don't think you guys believe that.
Within the realm of his authority, obviously.
I
Yeah,
don't
but his
think you guys
authority
actually
in your
believe
world
that.
would allow
He
him to
doesn't
just give
understand his own
information
authority.
to everybody.
His authority is such that he controls what the security protocols are. And no matter how much you decide to defy that or deny that, that doesn't change the reality.
think-
that is the reality?
So
Do you think
if
Trump
Pete
understands-
Hegseth
do you
said that
think
we should
Trump
just
understands
post
these
this on
laws?
fucking
I don't
Twitter,
give
like,
a
is that
shit.
okay?
He's
You
the elected
should.
guy.
Hold on, can I
You
engage
should
with your
care.
scenario, Wick? Can I
You
engage
should.
with
You
your scenario?
should
go ahead.
care.
Hold on. Let him engage.
Y'all just want a
Gibbs wants
dictator,
to
bro. Like,
engage.
this is crazy.
Gibbs wants to engage with me, so I'm gonna let Gibbs engage with me. I'm really curious.
Yeah, so Wick, you said, okay, let's all right, we're not doing a Manchurian candidate, like, right? Let's
No.
just say Trump wants to give all the stuff to Russia, right? And Russia, he's decided that we're now going to have a shared intelligence agency with
He's
Russia.
a big believer in freedom of information. He thinks there shouldn't be classified information anymore.
Well, hold on, I'm gonna
Trump
hit
has
you with a scenario
decided
you probably like less.
unilaterally,
I want you to.
I'm going to say we don't want any information to be classified. Let's share it all. Do you think that's a
Well,
good
that
thing?
would be.
Do you think
Well,
that's a good thing?
I personally would not think it's a good thing.
Yes,
But
you'd criticize it.
however,
But do you think he has the ability to?
however, if he has the ability to, I
Yes.
mean, Maybe, yeah, I would maybe say it would be potentially legal. Like if he was like, "We're going to reveal that we have aliens in Area 51," whatever. Here's my better question. Here's not better question. Here's
So we're not talking about aliens in Area 51. You're saying that he has the ability to let everything fly.
Let him engage.
So I want to just like pose a slightly different scenario.
Okay.
Your scenario, right? Because so say, all right, Trump goes, all right, we're no longer allies with the EU. I want to have shared intelligence with Russia. And now Russia and I are going to share intelligence from now on, and we're going to make the new U.S.-Russo alliance, and we're going to start doing whatever. And now he's declared him a new ally. In that scenario, if he told you, give this classified info to Putin, would he be allowed to do that, or should you do that?
Would he be allowed to do it?
No,
yes.
should you do that, or would that be bad?
Should I do that? No.
No.
Would he? Well, why not? It's the new political policy of the world.
Would he be allowed to? This is the difference between can he do it and should he do it. Can he do it? Probably yes. I'm not.
Yeah, but you just don't like that scenario. What if
should
like
he
now?
Do it? I think we could all agree.
Just don't like
that's bad. He shouldn't do it.
Yeah, this seems more like you're upset about who's in charge than what is actually being done. That's
so if Trump wanted to post all of the new like war plans or attack plans onto Twitter instead of in Signal group chat, and fucking Pete Hegseth and they were like, oh man, yes, they're joining each other. This is such a fucking great idea. Let's both post this on Twitter. Yay! Would you be like, oh, awesome? Yeah, like they have the total ability to do that.
Well,
yeah, it's totally fine for them to do that.
Well, see, that would depend, because if they posted it and then executed them to the T without anybody dying, I'd be just like, damn, they called their shot.
Holy consequentialist. Oh my God.
Hold on. Well, sure, I guess it is consequential. If they went in there and a bunch of people died, then I'd be like, well, what the fuck happened? The heads need a roll. Like that, I'm sorry, and you can say I'm consequentialist. Well, I can in this scenario, because he's the guy who dictates what's fucking classified or not. If he deems that he wants to post fake policies online and people know, then guess what? He can decide to do that. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. You know, y'all argue about can and should and who and why. I'm just saying.
Oh, Mim's right. That's the fucking window.
But when you argue, you're saying, oh, consequentialist. But it is consequentialism, because everything's consequentialism in this regard. Like, if he does that, he can even sell it as, wow, we told them what we're going to do, and they couldn't do shit about it. That would be a huge PR victory worldwide, and China and Russia would be shaking in their boots. Like, holy shit, we couldn't do that. They'd be like,
they would definitely not be shaking their boots. I mean, they
would be a strong move. It'd be a fucking badass
move.
They
literally just launched a large attack in Kyiv, and Trump said, stop. That's all he said. He hasn't done shit about Russia. So
that has nothing to do with the scenario I just rolled out once again.
You're thinking that China and Russia somehow would be scared of Trump, which is completely absurd, honestly. But we need to come to understand about this. Like, the thing is, like, if you disclose a war plan before it takes place, you're basically opening up the floodgates, basically saying, oh, yeah, it's perfectly fine because they did it once before. So we're going to keep doing this until somebody actually dies. They're like, oh, well, wait a second. They did this before. It never happened before. Therefore, we're just going to keep doing this until somebody actually dies. That's what you're basically saying. Oh, it's perfully fine to do this until somebody actually fucking dies.
What did Biden tell
Gibbs, I have a question for Gibbs.
Don't they, guys? Don't they? Didn't he send Kamala over there, and then 3 days later, they invaded? I don't want to hear about Trump saying, no. Like, come on, bro.
$10.
Didn't fucking J.D. Vance go to the Vatican and then the Pope died? Obviously.
Oh my God! It's been thank God we are almost done with this, because I can't take much more. It's about 2 hours.
I got you.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read these last super chats. Thank you for the super chats. Okay. Then we're going to go to closing statements, and we're gonna have each of these lovely individuals who spent their time with me on and entertaining you, dear audience, right? I have links to all their stuff in my YouTube description. Please click on those links, give them a follow, give them a thing. If you've enjoyed this show, or if you've hated it and want to see more for whatever reason, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, whatever you need to do, right? Really helps me out. Continue to give me money, give subs, give bits, all that jazz. Next week, we got some really great content coming up. Tune in for that. But for now, $10 from Artemis Fowl. I use Signal when I travel for DoD business. Anyone claiming Signal is unsecure is ignorant of how the DoD actually works. Spillage has a process to be handled. Identify, contain, ARR, and then classify. Caleb for $5. Google use of unclassified mobile applications in the Defense Department. PDF specifically states Signal is unauthorized for non-public DoD info. Thank you for the $5. $10 from Artemis Fowl. If Iran or China or whoever hacked it, meaning Signal, it would be the same as if we didn't know if SIPR was hacked. The moment the NSA believed there was a threat, it would advise full stop use of Signal. Thank you for the $10. $2 from Cameraman 502. Did he change the protocols or is it in his head? And then finally, $10 from Alexander Wren. These maggots, so excited finding all the horrible crap they can do that they won't for even a moment stop to wonder whether they should. And thank you for the $10. Okay, we're going to give Katusha the first word and Grid the last, and we're going to go over there. Katusha, close us out, tell people where they can find you, and closing thoughts on the subject. Go ahead.
Right. So basically I am Premier Katya on both X and on Blue Sky. As for my closing statements, we talk about like these consequentialist arguments over, it's fine because nothing happened. My question is like, then why is it that people are, for example, charged with attempted murder? Well, they didn't kill him. Oh, well, why is it a problem that, let's say, I'm going to use the whataboutism, Joe Biden had like the fucking classified documents in his garage. They just stayed there. If we're going to have problems with these other things, I just don't understand how we need to like go with a system in which mens rea means absolutely nothing. And secondarily, I mean, I've said it 500 times. It's not just about whether or not Signal can be hacked from outside forces that are hacking into their, to their communiques. The issue is not just even with the people. The issue is with the security of their emails and with their devices. I would be okay with lower level security stuff being used through Signal or even potentially higher if we talked about, any sort of evidence showing this beyond this panel. If we had to use a government phone and we had to use government email, that would be a different story. But these Signal group chats where people using their personal emails, their personal cell phone, I rest my case. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Kadusha. Check her out. I have a link to her stuff. People are yelling at me to keep the panel open and keep the panel on. I'll keep it open for an hour for $100. Otherwise, no. So you give me $100, chat, and I will go for 1 more hour and open it up to whoever wants to come on. But unless you pay me money, not going to happen. So. $5 from Parallax to say, please tell Artemis to STFU and work on his maglocks. He doesn't know a thing about this. Or doors. And thank you for the $5. Okay, Gibbs, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, let me just pull up my little quick closing. Yeah, I mean, basically, from what I understand, tech-wise, unless the phone is compromised, which is the same as any potential breach, I don't think they get access to the Signal messages. It looks like info is stored locally, not on the server, unlike, say, I don't know, WhatsApp. If you lose your phone, you lose all your chats. It seems secure. It seems like this was a lower staffer that did this, and the left is just spiraling. They're using TDS. The first they came for Elon. Oh no, we hate Elon. We hate the guy in charge. And they came for him. Now they're coming for Hegseth because these guys are the ones cleaning up the fat, cleaning up the corruption, getting shit done, cutting shit out that our taxpayers don't be needing to pay for. And I'm excited about it. And I think most of the people that voted for Trump are as well, because this is what we voted for. Oh no, Signal chat got leaked an hour before the Houthis got bombed when they have no ability to get to it. Oh God, so terrible. If you like what I have to say, we're going to be having a panel here in about 30 minutes or so, which is going to be about globalism and the rise of nationalism. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited for it. And we'll have some fun times and a lot of yelling. Thanks for having me, Wick, as always.
Okay, no.
I will also be on the panel.
We'll raid out into you after this, but thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Go check them out. Alexander Kirsch, please.
All right. Well, first things first, Wick, thank you so much for hosting this panel. This has been very entertaining. I had to blow off some steam, and that was mission successful. I want to thank all the panelists for taking part in this discussion. It was very entertaining. I'm not going to lie. Thank you so much for hearing me, gentlemen. I just want to let y'all know that I've laid out the argument multiple times, but it just seemed to go in one ear and out the other. Like, I basically laid out the pace. I mean, you could literally look this stuff up online. They've had Senate hearings about this, about all this classified material. There is regulations put in place for a reason to make sure stuff like this does not happen. And the fact of the matter is that if this was classified, and it was, Pete Hegseth, if he was responsible, which he is not, he would say this is a classified briefing. But if he was actually responsible, he wouldn't be doing this on Signal. He would actually say, hey, everybody, go over to a classified server and we're going to discuss this real quick. That would have been more responsible, and I would not have a problem with this, essentially. But because he's a DUI hire who's not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense, he only got to be Secretary of Defense by the skin of his teeth because J.D. Vance had to come and bail his ass out because he's an absolutely horrendously bad Secretary of Defense. He's only there, and he's the real reason why he still has his job is because he's loyal to Donald Trump, not because he's great at his job. It's because he just kisses up to Trump all the fucking time. That's why he's there. But the fact of the matter is, this is breaking the law. People have broken the law before. I've mentioned the people at the very beginning. They broke the law, and therefore he should be held to the same standard. But instead of actually addressing whether he should be held to that standard, instead we just went off on a tirade talking about like, oh, Pete Hegseth, oh my God, what about Biden? What about Hunter? What about Hillary Clinton? What about everybody else? We could do whataboutism until we're blue in the face. But the fact of the matter is the panelists that the opposition to what we were saying did not address it. They just said, oh, well, how do you know? I mean, how do you know this actually happened? How do you know this actually took place? How do you know this is actually not policy? Well, what if Signal actually is secure? It's not. Signal is not a secret. It is not a classified server. You cannot share this information on there, which is exactly what Pete Hegseth did. It's point blank, period, bottom line. There's no other way to put this. Anyway, if you want to have more conversations with me, if you want to find me, you can find me on X. You can find me on Blue Sky, the Alex Kirsch Project. I have a YouTube channel. Not very big. That's okay. I don't care. I'm always up for another panel, and I'm always up for another discussion. Thank you so much, Wick.
Thank you for being here. Check him out. Got a link to his stuff in the YouTube description. Last but certainly not least, Grid. Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Wick. I appreciate the discussion tonight. I really appreciate Alex staying for the entire event, and without rage quitting. That's good on you, brother. We all grow. You can find me at An Unreasonable Man on YouTube. I generally do not stream to Twitch. Occasionally I do, but not much anymore. I think this all boils down to a bunch of angry people that don't even know what they're mad about. They don't know if there was classified material leaked. They don't know anything except, the thing that the staffer did a couple of months ago. And mostly I think that everyone's really pissed at Hegseth because he's firing people and doing what he was hired to do. He wasn't hired to come in and just be another yes man. He was hired to go in there and fuck everything up and put it back together again right. And he's tearing it down. I don't know, of course I'm more of a blue collar guy than anything else. And sometimes you just got to go in and wreck it, burn it to the ground, break it up, whatever it is, and then rebuild it better. And I think the DoD is a perfect example of that. I think the Pentagon is really a perfect example of that. And I think they're all really, really, really angry and resentful at Hegseth for doing it, because he is actually doing what he was told to do by Trump, what he was hired to do. And I don't think you can ask for more than that from an employee, which at the end of the day, he is. He is an employee of Donald Trump cabinet. So, I don't know. I can't find, obviously I think that he does deserve some recourse for the original leak that came out because of his staffer. His staffer obviously was fired, all of that sort of thing. But this latest thing is just hilarious. We have no verifiable information. None. It's just all innuendo and rumor, which, is how government operates anyway. So, Wick, again, thank you for having me. It's been great. Had a lot of fun, except for my wife calling me, because we all know what that means. I've been online too much today.
Okay, well, before
Anyway.
you get in trouble, we'll just end it here. Gang, like I said, if you enjoyed the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to take tomorrow off, but Monday we got some great content coming your way. It should be awesome. Some big announcements coming soon where it's in the works. Maybe I'll have some repeat appearances coming up. We'll find out, right? But we're going to talk about it later. For now, we're going to raid out into Admiral Gibbs so you can see his panel about, I don't know, globalism or something?
Yeah, globalism and the rise of nationalism.
And the rise of nationalism, a how-to guide. So you can go and check out how you can become a globalist nationalist on Gibbs now. Wait, bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, man. Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks, Flex.
Bye.
Later, guys.